Yo, what is up? You guys are watching the Couchdoodles show. I am your host, Fragaboom, comic book veteran, art master. I say that as a joke. Every day I'm learning. 28 years. Today I've got Andre Kromoff, Will Perdomo. What's up? Andre over here. We got Will down here. What's up, fellas?
Hey, how's it going, Dan?
Doing
Evening,
well.
Frega.
Doing well. Doing well. I got this studio all cleaned up and cleared up. It's pretty crazy. Will got to witness that.
Yeah, I mean it's before it was a kid's playroom, and now it's a high tech broadcast studio of the
I
future.
know. I got it all built like a crazy person. What's up, Akuma? Hopefully I'm sounding okay. I got this all hooked up. I went to Guitar Center today to find a new mic because Ethan Van Sciver told me that my mic was not great. But it's not that my mic wasn't great. It's that it wouldn't fit on this arm. And when I went to buy this new mic, this dude pulled out a piece of metal and said, "You just put this on the end of that thing and your mic will go on fine." And he was right. So I ended up spending $1,000 there.
Well, I guess he did his job.
Yeah, no, I've been wanting to get this thing called an MPC Live. Have you guys heard of that?
I
No.
don't know.
You guys want to see what it looks like?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go grab it. Hold on.
No, I don't know this, Will. Where are you located physically?
I'm now in Eugene, Oregon,
Okay.
and I don't know if we've never really formally met, but
No.
I used to actually work for Dan back at the old Extreme days as an intern with Kite.
Andre was
Really?
there. Andre was in
Uh-huh.
the color department. That's
Yeah.
That's the same Dre who colored the stuff.
Yeah, no, like I said, that's a while back, but I kind of remember Kite, I think, a little bit. Well, the name rings a bell. That's pretty awesome. Wow.
It's a standalone computer beat workstation. It doesn't even need a computer.
That's fancy.
Yeah, it's for making Black Flag soundtracks with.
Yeah, I mean, because you got a lot, and it's nice to hear it play, but I'm sure for all the listeners that it's in the background, but some new tracks couldn't hurt.
It's true. It's true. What up, Lake Kick? What up, Mr. Green? What up, Luke? What up, Darwin? Hope you guys are doing good. I'm going to throw the link up. We're trying out some new stuff, new microphone. These headphones are kind of funny. It makes me look professional in this brand new studio.
You got your Bose with the surround sound.
Yeah. It's the old school ones, you know.
I got.
Yeah. These are the 2004s. In fact, they were so old that the ear cups were all crusty and breaking up.
Suffering from the leprosy that they contract eventually.
That's right. And is Andre upside down for you or just me?
Nope.
That's so weird. It's so bizarre.
Seems like I'm okay, but
That's good.
for whatever reason, it wouldn't work at all on the iMac, so this on the iPad. Hopefully, it didn't flip it somehow.
You need
Okay.
you need to put in a ticket with Flynn, for the
Kevlar?
interface. The grid is not working for you, Dan.
That don't look like a link. That looks like a serial number. Oh, that's true. That's true. It does, doesn't it?
And for anybody that cares, I don't know why, but I tried
There
to
it
log
is.
in with Safari, but it wouldn't. It said, you got to use Chrome, and then I don't know.
Yeah, it works fine with Brave.
Yeah, it's weird because on
Oh, check it out! I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but
no problem, man.
I think you've upgraded to the nice StreamYard.
I did.
Nice. You see, like I said, I one of those things. This is not going to make any difference to anybody. But when I was making apps for early days, when Unity was the engine, it still is a great engine to write games and stuff with. But you had to pay a whole bunch of money extra for it to not say created in Unity, and I
Right.
paid for it simply because it adds that little bit more of, I hate to say professionalism or whatever else.
No, it's a
Where-
great way to say it, man.
And it was a bunch of money, but in those days, the less Apple could grab at or find fault with or whatever, the less they knew, the better it was. So you actually paid for the fact that it removed the logo saying StreamYard or whatever else, in my case Unity, So
Yeah.
I say
Well, I'll tell you what, though, I might end up dumping it. Since we last spoke, I've been doing a lot of R&D. And the reason I have this wonderful chroma behind me is because I'm using something called Wirecast. I'll take the chroma off just for a beat so you could see. All right, this is what it looks like. Here I am. Rock me like a hurricane.
very
So,
fancy.
yeah. So then turn it back on. Send it back. I can do all kinds of stuff too. You want to see? This is the what I call doing the funny business. If I shrink myself down in the studio, watch. I'm going to shrink down. You ready?
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I like that. That's pretty cool.
Now you're a Twitch streamer officially.
Yeah. No, it's gimmicks. Hold on.
Now you got to get your Unreal on or whatever the kids are playing now.
I got to grow. Hold on. There we go. LaRock, nah, this is what fish have sex in. It's called water. I'm having water tonight.
Water?
Yeah, we went and had some this place called Chronic Tacos, and Chronic Tacos had this really good rice, so that was my only carb for the day. Akuma wants to know, Andre, will you ever release that coloring tutorial?
Yes, I will be glad to release it. And to be like I said, I should probably. You've hit your 4,000 from what I understand, so you don't need the extra. You don't need the time. But
I need content though. I need content.
You do need content, and that's exactly right. And to be honest, I don't really want to bother with doing it for myself. I mean, I literally looked at some of the dates, that stuff, and Will might appreciate this, but I mean that was done, I don't know, 19 years ago, and it's been sitting in my drawer,
That's cool.
as a PDF. And really, I mean, most of the stuff that's secrets aren't secrets anymore, but there's a lot to be learned, I think, from it, just from the fact that,
sure,
one of the things that I used to do pretty well, and still, like, I wasn't the best colorist. I mean, I'm going to say that because.
But you had a signature style, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
just kind of.
Nobody was Kiko except for Kiko, so it's
exactly.
a hard.
But I did effects well. I did metal well, and it's just an understanding of how metal looks or works or how light hit things. And I think if nothing else, you probably pass along a lot of information to your viewers from that aspect. Most of the secrets aren't secrets anymore, but that kind of stuff.
I think it's great, man, and I'm sure they're happy to check it out.
Well, I think I mean that could be totally wrong, but I'm assuming that just because technology is advanced doesn't mean that the techniques have gone along with them. So, for example, when somebody's making a film, they'll say, "I want like a Blade Runner look," but that requires a certain craftsman to be able to pull it off. So I'm sure that the stuff that's in that tutorial is valuable to people because it's not necessarily the tools; it's how you utilize them. Like.
Right.
Another example of that was the highly successful Bart Sears campaign that he ran for basically just a compendium of Brutes and Babes columns. The thing went over $100,000.
Yeah.
And all it was just a collection of the Wizard articles.
Yeah, I feel like they could, if they did that with Capullo's Crash Course, I think that would do it too. I actually have a PDF of all of them compiled I did myself.
Was that after, did that take over Brutes and Babes?
Yes. And in fact, I have so many of them. I'm pretty sure Wizard put together a book that had a bunch of that stuff. They broke them up into like heroes and storytelling and this and that. But I would put money down for a Capullo book for sure. But going back to the technology and paying for StreamYard, paying for Switcher, and this one's for you, Andre. I found this program, and it was mostly because. What is that? Is that his art book?
Yep.
That's awesome. So the what do you call it? When I was on Peter Cimetti's show, he was using StreamYard, and I noticed he had all kinds of graphics and all kind of add-ons, and I was perplexed. I'm like, how can you do that? None of that stuff exists in StreamYard. And he says, I'm using an OBS using something called Virtual Cam. I searched high and low and could not find anything of the like for Mac until I happened upon Wirecast. The thing that's wonderful about Wirecast is it does everything that Switcher does. It does everything that StreamYard does, except for doing something like this. Say, take Akuma's thing here and how I pop it up in there and how we could see that. That's the only thing it doesn't do. I can do up to 7 people in the chat. I can do backdrops. I can do chroma key. I can do pre-lap video. And here's the best part. Switcher charges $588 a year to be able to use it in its full feature. StreamYard charges a little over $400 for a year to use it with all of its features. Wirecast is a one-time, the professional version is a one-time purchase of $700, and it's one time. So what I'm thinking of doing after I run a bunch of the bugs out, because next step is to do this without StreamYard and to do it straight up with their proprietary thing called Rendezvous. If that works as good as StreamYard does and everything goes without a hitch, I'm going to go drop those other two and use this one exclusively. Because I can do screen caps, I can do I can draw with my iPad and have it be on the screen. I can do split screen. I can have people call in. I can do all the scheduling. I can set up templates. I can create. There's something here that's kind of cool. It's a 3D environment that I'm just gonna pop it in here, so you know what it looks like. It looks like shit because I don't know how to use it, but it looks like this. Check this out. Hey guys, I'm stuck behind this cage. But see how like this thing right here, this A, I can put another picture in there, and I could also green screen myself walking through this environment, and that's for like future things, you know.
I think the one you got right now is pretty good looking.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, that's just a little picture I put in there.
So
you had me fooled until you took down the green screen. I know you're pretty good at that, but still.
Yeah, I love technology, man. I like figuring out how all that works. Get out of here, studio. Mike Green says, I'd love to see a color tutorial from Andre. There's something about coloring from that era, from his era, that's special, especially Andre and some of the other Extreme Studios dudes. That's right, Andre. I mean, that's the thing. You forget. Justin says Will Perdomo's got his Keanu Reeves on. Hell yeah.
I always get that. I don't know. I don't think I look like him, but I always get that.
I can see it. I see it. I just don't hurt your dog, bro.
No, I'll kill anyone who hurts my dog. Exactly.
That's right. Yeah. So the thing I was going to say, though, especially for you, Andre, is here it is 25 years later, and there is a reverence for the material that we were just trying to get through. And people especially have found key images. And fortunately for me, I'm part of that. And for you also, when we see that DRE at the bottom of a cover or a trading card, that says something. So Mike Green is absolutely right.
I got a question for Andre. So Andre, what's your background in regards to color? Like, were you drawing analog, or did you always utilize a digital approach?
No, I mean, like I've mentioned this story, and I'll keep it short. But I was kind of fortunate in that before, like basically in 1980, trying to get this date right, but anyways, in 1986, I think it was 87 actually. I went to a high school that was boys and girls, but they kind of mixed it together. And so the first year I went to the art school, to the art class, and it was really, really crunchy lady. And it was okay. I did a lot of oil painting, but then I went to the girls' school, and over there they had, oh my God, they had a color laser printer back in 87, and they had Photoshop 1.5. Nice. So I got to learn to use Photoshop 1.5, 1987. And so I got, pretty good at it, I guess. I mean, some of the colors are pretty laughable, but good enough, I guess, for being in 87. I would have been, I don't know, however you are, it's sophomore in high school, whatever that would have
15.
been.
Mm-hmm.
15, yeah.
Yeah.
So just about Dan's time, he was starting pretty early, drawing as well. Yeah. But yeah, and so I got pretty good at it, and then went to college, and then my stats professor knew Rob's cousin, Jason Irwin, and he was going to be the first colorist, and I mostly would skip the stats, and I actually met Rob at New York Comic Con, and they kind of laughed at the drawings, but they didn't laugh at the colors that I'd been doing. So
So you submitted drawings first and then colors.
Yeah. No, the drawings were. I was going to try to draw like Dan. I was trying to draw like because I was a big fan of both Rob and Jim Lee, and I was trying to draw, and I, let's be honest, it just wasn't as good as I, would think. But they liked the colors, and I said, "Fuck it, I'm not gonna show and get laughed at with the drawing," and I think, as I said, the colors were just ahead of its time because the only person that was even doing it was Steve Olaf, who pioneered it.
And Laverne was the other guy.
Well, Laverne
was that Akira Steve Olaf?
Yes,
that's right.
Okay.
Yeah, Akira Steve Olaf, and the thing is, he was using a program called Cod Barrett, which predated Photoshop literally by decades. Yeah.
So this coloring, that's what Andre is referring to. This, which was some of the first digital coloring in the 80s.
It was the first, and so he predates Laverne by you hold it in your hand, and the key to his technique, where he basically, it's like, I think what Dan says, he had a tool which was not even made for coloring. It was like Illustrator 0.1. It had 4 tools to it. You had to click points in order to make your color selections, and then you could have a linear gradient, a color gradient, a radial gradient, and a linear gradient, and then they had this one weird one where it was like a neon line, and Kiko used that to make the most awesome clouds. So it was a bunch of tricks, but what it was is that you had to pick your colors, and it was used originally for doing coloring on phone books, and so the knockouts that they did like in red or whatever, and that's what was his purpose. It was not meant for coloring, but Steve Olaf took it and he colored Akira out of it because he learned all the CMYK colors and passed it along to all his guys, and they memorized it like Kiko. So what you saw on screen wasn't even the color that you were working with, and they just got so good at it, they would know that this printed in a great color when printed on comic book paper.
They had to transpose those colors in their mind as they were doing it.
And so Rob, of course, Jason was technically number 1 of coloring people, but Kiko, as I say, was 0 because he got pulled, stolen, whatever you want to call it, from Steve Olaf, because Rob just gave him so much money that Kiko couldn't say no. And so he got in there, and he was using this Cod Barrett program to color all of Rob's stuff. And I was using Photoshop at the time. It was at 2.0. And then Kiko would use Cod Barrett. And one thing is, I got to color Rob's stuff, but Rob would a lot of times insist that I use Cod Barrett, and I never had all that training that Kiko had to see in my head.
It's not even coloring. It's like
it's like a technical program. It's not for coloring.
Right. It's like saying, hey, I know you're a really good race car driver. Why don't you fly this plane? It's like,
and now try telling that to Rob, where it's like, all this stuff that you've been doing doesn't really apply, except for the fact that the modeling did apply. And I was just going to interject to the thing I've forgotten about Steve Olaf, where he made it a craft. He literally had an X-Acto knife, okay, and he somehow turned an X-Acto knife into a masterpiece coloring tool. It wasn't meant for coloring. Somehow it's like Japanese wood block printing. He used that X-Acto knife to cut out pieces of wood that he would dip into paint and then make gradients onto paper and turn it into what you were holding in your hand for Akira, because the amount of work that he did to produce that color is just obscene. But in the end, it looked awesome. And
I have a question about that. So to produce a page of Akira, because with all these extra steps you're taking, it's not a matter of just putting a pen onto a digital surface and drawing it. How much time goes into each page using this system that Steve Olaf created? What are we talking about here in terms of labor?
Hold on a second. JMS asks, who are we talking about? We're talking about Steve Olaf. He was the very, very first man to be doing digital coloring back in 1988 over the epic reprints of Akira, which had started off in Young magazine in Japan in black and white. So when it was brought over here to America, it was colorized by Steve Oliff, who had been doing it with a computer that was not Photoshop. It was Cod Barrett, and it was done without a visual interface. It was all done without a graphic interface. It was all done with.
There's a little bit of graphic, but it was really, really dated. And to add one bit to your process step is that Steve Oliff, he was always doing, like Byron Talman, or Snakebite as he goes by now, who was at Extreme. He was always doing the color guides, and then the guys that he would train were doing the separations. So for a very long time, digital colorists were called separators, simply because it was the translation of color guides into the 4-color process, thus separating the colors.
Who do you think was the pioneer of straight up colorist? You know what I mean? Because we came from Extreme, and I remember even Chris Leitner, the founder of Liquid, with Arn Lucen, he was doing guides for the studio, and Byron Tallman was doing guides, and those were even being sent down to like Clydeen Nee's company, or even Laverne's company up in the Great North.
I mean, I don't want to talk shit, but I'm going to. But I mean, Laverne, because he was before me, he was first. I mean, you want to get to the people who were first as far as Photoshop people. I mean, Brian Haberlin was definitely a craftsman, and I don't know if he was first, but as far as what I saw as first in the Extreme Liefeld books, it was definitely Laverne. And the problem with Laverne is he had gotten this technology, and you could now have every color in the world wherever you wanted, super easy, no ruby lift cutting, no Cod Barrett, and suddenly every page had every single color on it. And that's just bad coloring, because I think that's what a lot of starting out people do.
That's exactly. I think when people are pioneering, there's going to be all kinds of rough edges, and those things need to get worked out to get to where we are now. I mean, you got guys like Marte Gracia and Rom and Yaki and
I was going to say, don't forget Matt. I mean, Matt, to his credit, I don't know where he is, because he could definitely pipe in on a lot.
He's eating. He told me he's coming in.
Yeah.
There was a question there, guys, about could you explain the process of color separations? You know, how does that figure into the pipeline?
Well,
Andre, take it away, man.
It's a lot easier now, only because, like, even as of version 2.0, I think, and again, to put it in perspective for people that are younger or whatever, I mean, when I say 2.0, I don't mean Photoshop CC 2.0. I don't know what it's up to now, 6, 7, whatever, who cares?
No, dude, it's
11, whatever.
It's like in version 18 or 19.
Yeah, I know. You can see the real version if you go into the about. It'll show you. I think you're right. It'll say 18. Last I saw, I think it said 14 or something. Yeah. But it used to and not have a feature where it would so separating and this is actually really important for people that will learn to color. That hasn't changed. When you go to print, the color process has to separate whatever you see on screen, which is why it's called separating, into 4 colors: C, M, Y, and K, which stands for cyan, magenta, yellow, and K is black. And one of the first secrets that Kiko told everybody that was coloring is you do not want to go past 20K, 20%. They go to 0 to 100% of each color. And what they mean is that there are plates that are physically made at the printer, and Don used to have to go to the printers to get proofs and stuff. There are plates made of each of those 4 colors to print, and they are printed separately, and then the ink is literally stamped. Like I said, the wood blocks used to be done in Japanese wood blocking in this way, but now with printing presses, they just kind of separate those 4 colors, and they print them, and you get your finished product, because the colors bleed into each other and they're additive. So 0 is none of that color, 100 is 100% of that color.
Andre, how do you spell your last name?
Just the way it is on screen, KHROMOV. But so one of the key things that I can at least pass along to anybody, Photoshop will do this for you now, but it used to not back in the day. It'll auto limit the number of how much black it'll output. And the reason it does that now is that we used to color in CMYK because you got absolute control of what it would actually print at. But the problem with that is that nowadays, Procreate, most things are coloring in RGB, and it's
Right.
completely different technology. RGB is red, green, and blue, and it works completely in reverse. So the higher the number, the brighter it is. And so it's, instead of being additive, it's subtractive in the sense of things get brighter. And again, Photoshop will translate things for you properly, but that wasn't the case. And some tricks don't work in CMYK that do work in RGB. And I guess my point to any of this is that you want to try to think of what you're going to end up as your final product. Like Dan is very specific with trying to get Black Flag onto, maybe a non-coded page versus a coded page. And that makes a huge difference in coloring that you got to think about, because the absorption of paint color.
Yeah, I know what Star is talking about here. He says, are you sure Olaf was the first to do computer colors? I'm pretty sure there's a Spanish guy who did it in the 80s, even did a Batman book. That was a technicality. That was a computer-generated book. So in a way, you're right, because it was color, but it wasn't computer coloring. He wasn't coloring other people's line art.
And I'll be honest, I don't know. I mean, as
I
far
know
as
it.
I
have it. It was a graphic novel.
So Andre, so once you got some heat off of those samples you did, what came next? Like, did you just move out to Cali, or like what was the first book you were offered?
There's no book that was offered. It was so the story goes, and like I said, I mentioned to the viewers, I might have seen it, but I guess I'll keep it short. So I did know somebody, so I had sort of an in. It's not as bad as Dan Fraga's story. I did not have to live above a comic book store and take cold showers. That sucks. I wouldn't do that. But
hey, man, I had a dream. I had a dream.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I know.
I still have a dream.
But I did hear from the stats professor about this guy Jason Irwin, and so I met him and stuff, and to be honest, I went to the Comic-Con in New York, and they liked the colors. And then because I did know Jason Irwin, he's Rob's cousin, I kind of got in Rob's face at one of the question and answers, because everybody would raise their hand and say, how do we do this? And how do we get into comics and all of this? And, I already knew Jason, and it didn't do me a whole lot of good, because they literally were on a pedestal so far up above everybody. And sure, you could wait in line to try to show your samples, but I'd done that, didn't really do much good. And, I'm very easily pissed off. And anyhow, and I was worse during—
You're Russian.
During the extreme
Always
days.
Russian.
I got into Rob's face. I literally got up, and when he picked me to speak, I was like, I know Jason Irwin, and you fucking— oh, sorry. And, I don't know.
You can't fucking swear on this show. Yeah,
no, I don't mean that. I'm just saying, it's like, I don't know if you've seen, they have these new guidelines for what you can. Hopefully you mark your show. I don't think I said fucking in front of him anyways. But anyhow, I was just—
but the attitude was there. The
attitude was there.
And flim flam.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he was nice enough to let me meet him after that panel. And it was okay, but nothing really happened. And then one person I have to give a huge shout out to is Doug Griffith, and he was the art director for Image that worked next door to Extreme. And so I was sending him some stuff there. And finally, my dad actually had a stroke and heart attack, and my college stuff kind of would have been sort of ended. And so I basically sold all my shit that I had. I had enough money to buy a ticket to go see Steve Olaf. I flew into John Wayne. I was going to apologize to Rob because I got in his face. And then I was going to drive down to Wildstorm to maybe try to get in. I had nothing as far as any guarantee from anybody. Steve Olaf did say, yeah, you can stop by. And Rob wasn't expecting me at all. Jason kind of knew that I would stop by. And so I stopped by, and I apologized to Rob because I held him in, godlike status, and, it was a big deal. And so I dropped off some floppy disks, and then the next day, Jason said, yeah, come on in. And Rob, I'm getting the story a little wrong in that first I dropped off some disks, and then Jason called me. But basically I came in and to apologize to Rob, and he's like, yeah, I like the stuff, and you can come to work here. And I said, awesome. So I never got to see Steve Olaf, which kind of pissed Steve off. But he didn't give me any promises. There was no guarantee of anything, and Wildstorm didn't happen because I never went there. And to be honest, I'm kind of glad because Clydeen sounds like she was a hard woman to work for. That was a very different experience than Extreme Color. I think Rob deserves a lot of credit for what he put together with Dan, with the color people, with the inkers like Norm and Danny Mickey and Art Thibert and Dan Panosian. And the first thing I ever colored was a Dan Panosian Prophet piece. Took me 2 days. And I know this is going to sound, like Andre's making up bullshit, but it took me 2 days and Rob was going to pay me, I don't know, I think it was going to be $60, which you should ask Matt how much he's getting paid. But
Matt Yackey,
5 years
speak
ago,
of the devil. Speak of the
Yeah, there we
devil.
go.
What's up, Matt Yackey? He appeared.
You only had to say his name once, not the usual 3 times.
I know. He is
Beetlejuice.
but he's a very nice devil. He's hard to be.
He's got the red light in the background with the devil hookers.
I know.
Hello there. Yes.
Yeah, this
Not
is
much.
people need to know something right now. This is kind of awesome that the 4 of us are in here. This is the Brain Trust, man. This is starting with Black Flag 1. This is the Brain Trust.
Yes.
You know, there's a couple other guys that are going to end up in this fold eventually. I see guys like Rooster Puncher and met a couple people out in California and stuff. But we're entering a new decade.
Cool.
Entering a new decade, not just a new year. We're entering a new decade, and
God, we are. That's frightening.
It's getting close.
In 20,
It's good, but it's frightening.
21 days left in this year.
Wow, I didn't even think about that, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah, man.
Well, Andre was giving some dirt there, and I want him to finish that.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Talking about his
Sorry to
picture.
interrupt.
No. I was just,
yeah,
I was just saying that the first piece I colored, it was Dan Panosian's Prophet pinup, and I've told this story more than times, and to Matt's credit, I mean, like I said, we not only worked together, but we lived together for a while, and I'm nobody that you want to live with.
No.
But he put up with it, and he learned all he could, and finally I kind of just bailed on the whole thing for opportunity cost reasons. But he's been doing it and gotten so much better all these years. And one of the things that certainly has changed that isn't the case anymore is like we used to always color with mice, and he did initially, but then people like Brian Haberlin had the Wacom, and so that changed your whole art style completely. But
That's
just
right.
not to get off my whole Rob thing, just ended up. But so Dan Panosian's Prophet pinup was took me 2 days, and Rob just was going to pay me twice that because it took me 2 days, and that's how pinups got paid. Now Kiko was in a completely different pay grade, so there's not even point as to how much he got paid.
It's like having Michael Jackson come to your house,
Yeah, it was like we were like the
Hold on.
studio backup band, and then you got Michael Jackson, exactly,
Right,
where he's
right.
not even in the same class as us. But
Right.
we did learn a lot from him, and the thing is that I was just saying about you, Matt. It's like I always bring up this story just to relate to rates, which is so stupid, but the rate I got paid for the Prophet piece was double of 60 or 70, I forget exactly, but a page started to be 60, and a pinup was double that to 140.
I'm gonna jump
Yeah.
into the questions for a second, but first I want to ask a technical question. Will and Andre, how are you guys monitoring audio? Andre, I can see Will has headphones. He's just in the dark.
I'm just using my iPad straight as is.
And you're not getting any echo or anything?
Nothing.
And I've got an external mic too. So
That's a trip, man. Okay, now GMS Raven says, I'm confused of a timeline of Extreme and Image.
Dan, that's you.
Yeah, and then he says, I thought it was Marvel. They left, started Image. When was Extreme? Okay, so Extreme, every one of the guys at Image, except for Eric, well, not everyone. Okay, Eric, Mark Silvestri, they didn't have studios. Jim and Wills were already part of a studio when they were at Marvel, and you can see some of the issues where it'll say an Homage production. They were called Homage Studios, before they were called Wildstorm. Extreme Studios was Extreme Studios. It had Brian Murray, Rob Liefeld, Marat Michaels. They were a studio, and they did work together while at Marvel.
And just to interrupt you for just a second,
Yeah.
that's the guy I really wanted to mention. Besides Laverne, who was doing the coloring, Brian Murray was one of the very, very first digital colorists. So there you go.
Yeah, he was one of the first as well. What up, Mr. Perrone? How are you, sir? It's good to see you. AKA Tony Joseph, except your name is correcta. Boom selecta. So then what happened when the guys formed Image Comics, left Marvel formed Image Comics, they wanted to create more than single books. So Extreme Studios started off. Marat was assisting Rob and got put on Brigade. I was going to be put on a book called The Odd, which was sort of a Rob Liefeldized version of Wizard of Oz. That didn't happen. I think there were some entanglements, and so I sat around for a while until Bloodstrike happened. And then the same thing happened with Jim. Jim had more books, hired more people. J. Scott Campbell, Scott Clark, R.I.P., Nick Manabat, R.I.P., Ali Garza, Lee Bermejo, etc. Top Cow used to be part of Wildstorm, and then they broke away. I see somebody with blue hair in the house.
What up, Frega Boom?
What's
Welcome,
up,
sir.
my man? How are
What's
you?
up, Boombox? How is everybody?
Everybody is
Hey,
good.
Good.
Everybody is
Having a
good.
history lesson.
And
I'm digging it so far. Continue.
as far as what happened with Kiko, I don't know. Kiko was almost like Kane from Kung Fu. He just happened to be good at coloring. He was like that kind of guy. He was like, I think I'll color today, but he was literally the best. And you can see that. You can see the big change in Liefeld's work, especially around, was it Youngblood 6? Which one was it? He did the cover of 4, but like he did all of 6.
Was it 7 or was it 6?
I think it was 6, perhaps.
Because
post-sabbatical issue.
because Brian Murray was doing most of them, and like I said,
Yeah.
Brian Murray I actually met him down there before I met Rob, and he's the nicest guy. And he was showing me the stuff that he was coloring, and which was way better than Laverne's. But again, this is just then Kiko steps in, like you were saying, and I'm sorry, but he was better than Brian Murray or anybody else.
Well,
that
something
matter.
interesting about Brian Murray. A lot of people, and I had to have a long talk with Ed Piskor about this, and when we have him on the show, we'll talk about it a little more. But X-Force number 4 was colored by Brian Murray, and a lot of people think like, yo, that is the biggest acid trip of a comic book. And what kind
I
of
didn't
acid?
want to say it.
Which one is 4?
It's the crossover with Spider-Man.
Is it the horizontal issue?
Yes.
Okay.
It looks like a Technicolor vomit job, right? But this is what happened though.
And I want to look at it.
Yeah, this is what happened. There, back in the day when they did colors, they did color guides with Higgins ink, and then they'd have to write a line with call-outs like this blue when you go to do separations. And this is pre-digital. This is when they were cutting Rubylith. This blue is like C24. This color here is a 4F2, that sort of thing. So Brian had done all of his call-outs, but unfortunately what had happened was the only chart that he had was from Eclipse Comics, and their call-out codes were different than Marvel's. So a C24 at Marvel might have been a nice turquoise, but at Eclipse it was like a royal blue. So that's why you got this sort of like, why the fuck would you put that color next to that color? Okay,
Yeah.
then. It wasn't.
Was it this one?
Yeah. Yes, sir. That's the one.
I see what you mean. But
Yeah. Yeah. So it was because the call out codes were. Yeah. There you are. The call out codes were wrong. Like all of those colors are wrong.
Huh.
So that's what
I
happened.
never knew that.
there's actually this is actually one of my more favorite, this is some cool composition from Rob.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've always been a Rob fan, but there's something about that New Mutants 86 all the way up to, I'd say, Youngblood
so
8 or so.
is that why Juggernaut is brown?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So, the colors are similar but different. You know what I mean?
Same,
Different but
same,
the
but
same.
different.
Yeah, similar but different. So
Look at that one.
like they were like it was definitely supposed to be a blue, but not that blue. Not not that particular blue, and it was supposed to be this sort of flesh color that was rimlet, but not with that color of green.
I'll be right back.
So it was an interesting thing.
Yeah.
I wonder why Andre is upside down on my screen. It's so weird.
Really?
He's
He's
the only
upside down for me too.
Okay, so
He looks fine on YouTube, and he's the correct way on mine.
well, that's what happens. I guess as long as YouTube
Weird.
gets going. What up, Chauncey? How are you, sir? Good to have you in. So we're talking a little bit of coloring history, a little bit of backstory behind Extreme Studios, a little backstory behind comics in general, modern day comics. I don't have, I talk to guys like one of my favorite breakfasts I ever had in recent time. I was up in New Jersey at this East Coast Comic Con, and I happened to be able to have breakfast with Larry Hama and Howard Chaykin.
Oh, cool.
Those guys. So I know what you guys are sort of experiencing when you hear these sort of backstories, because I just sat there listening, like when they're talking about Vinnie Coletta and talking about Kirby and Shooter and Buscema, and like Howard Chaykin used to share a studio with Frank Miller and Walt Simonson, and you go, holy shit, those the three of those guys in a room, what the hell, man, that would just be insane. So that's why the Hey Kids comics by Howard Chaykin is such a seminal work, is because it's like it's those stories except with the names changed. But like I could for my backstory, I met McFarlane before I met Rob. I met Todd for the first time in August of '89, and I remember it was in San Jose, and there was this long line for people to get their comic signed, and I didn't go there to get my comic signed. I went there for him to look at my artwork, and being the sort of idiot that I was, I literally walked past the entire line, went around the divider thing, walked up next to him and said, "Hey, Todd, I'm Dan Frega. Will you take a look at my stuff?" He's like, yeah, bud. I said, "I don't have anything for you to sign." And he went through my art. And then I said, "Hey, can you sign good luck to me on the last page?" and I handed him my pencil, because this is something I used to do, because I'm a weird kid that way. Whenever I would meet an artist that I liked, I had this pencil and I'd hand it to them and then have them sign it and then have them give me my pencil back. And basically I was capturing their mojo,
It's a great idea, man.
Yeah. So I still have the pencil. I did a lot of the first books in my career. I had it. It's a black Tombow. It's a Japanese lead holder.
Nice.
So I still have it. I still have that best of luck Todd McFarlane thing. But so I met Rob in November of '89, so a couple months later. But it was I've told this story before, but it was a fortunate break in that I was filming my local small time TV show and doing an episode on portfolio reviews, and my buddy Mike Gomez, he's the guy who is and he's in Kid Supreme. I call him Red. He's also in The Grave. His name is Mike in The Grave. Mike had purchased a character design from Rob of this character neither of us saw before. He was really cool. He had spikes and a cape. He ended up being the character design for Strife, which Mike still has. Mike still has it. Will never let it go. You have to pry it from his 501st dead hands. But the thing that was great about it was it was drawn on the back of Rob Liefeld's personal stationery. So it had Rob's address, his phone number, his fax number, and I just said, "Hey, Mike, I'm the guy that walks past the line and talks to Todd McFarlane, so I'm also the same guy who calls Rob Liefeld and says, "Hey, I'm the guy whose portfolio you reviewed. I'm going to fax you stuff." And that's basically how I got in. I literally hounded the guy for 2 years straight with everything that I was drawing, to the point where he was like, "Don't fucking call me." And Marat, bless Marat's heart, Marat said, "Dude, why don't you just fucking hire him?" And that's how it happened. And I got back in San Diego of '91. I was told about the inception of Image Comics. It was just going to be Todd, Rob, and Eric. And then in November of '91, I was asked to join. And then in February of '92, I moved down to Southern California to be a
Hell yeah, man.
full-on member.
I'm kind of surprised. I mean, you might have mentioned this,
Persistence
but
pays.
maybe, yeah, no, exactly. I guess if there's any parts of either of these stories that I could say is that we both got into Rob's face at some point. But, you know, I didn't realize Marat predated you by that long.
Marat met Rob when he was 16. And I think Marat knew Rob back in like Hawk and Dove days. So I met Rob before he started New Mutants. He was in the like development part of New Mutants. So at that point, Rob had done the Hawk and Dove. He had done some images in Marvel Universe. He had done a New Mutants annual. He'd done a Spider-Man annual. And I think a couple weeks before I met him, the What If issue had come out. So he was somebody that we knew, but he wasn't, Cable, Deadpool, New Mutants, X-Force Rob. I met Rob when he was 22, right before the fuse had been lit, but the bomb hadn't gone off yet. So I met Rob that early, but Marat met Rob when they were building the bomb.
Nice.
So I have a question, since we have two colorists from two different eras of this, extreme story and Rob's story. So for both of you, and could you tell us what it was around the time, like, for example, when Rob was freelancing and using Yaki, or when it was a company and he was using Andre, what the creative process was for you guys with him?
I think I've bored the shit out of enough people. So I'm going to let Matt speak. But
what was it like? Like, did you guys just a factory at Extreme, or did you get assigned each one book to do?
I'll tell you something about while I was at Extreme. It was the office after you worked there, Will. It was the State College office, and my office.
I worked there for a little while with you.
At the State College one?
Is that the one that looked like Adventureland?
Adventureland.
It kind of looked like it was
one story with trees and stuff.
Yeah, it looked like Adventureland.
Okay, you remember it. So my office was right next to the color department, and I would hear Rob. I would actually hear him give Don and Brett color notes for them to disseminate to the other guys.
Just interrupt you, Dan, but was this after the Disney building?
Yes.
Okay.
So the way I would hear Rob talk would be, it needs to pop. It needs to be candy. I want to be able to lick it. So those are the way he talked. And then I'd see Rob leave, but I would hear Don and Brett go, "What do you think he meant? Do you think they meant more saturation? Did he more highlights?" So that was like the impetus for me to want to go get Photoshop and teach myself. But that was the kind of direction I would hear him give to colorists. But Matt, take over.
Yeah, the different phase of his professional career. How are you dealing with him? We can't hear you, Matt.
He's muted.
Technical difficulties, but
Hold on.
I will say,
Hey, sir.
nope.
We can't
Can't
hear
hear
him.
him.
No.
Here, look. Let me
Nope.
do this and do this.
And I saw him revving up there to tell a story. I'm like, come on.
I know he's
I
like
know.
that.
I will say this: you get your shit fixed. Try to log back in. Maybe it's your mic again.
There you
Yeah.
are. There you are.
Sort
Oh,
of.
good.
Yeah, the audio up here is kind of funky.
Well, your video was shorting out a little bit ago too.
Yeah.
You were all like Twilight
Yeah.
Zone over there.
Yeah, it was, and then my audio cut out at the same time, and I had to reconnect it, but I didn't know if it was working. Now we know. Yeah, I pretty much the same. I got the same kind of directions, make it juicier, or Skittles. Skittles was a big
Skittles.
thing.
Yes.
I want Skittles.
Go on.
I don't know. I just that,
Taste the rainbow.
I think
Yeah.
that's probably
Thank you.
why I worked with him for so long, is that those directions made sense to me. I could convert them into
I was going
what
to
he wanted to
say,
see.
you don't give yourself enough credit. All right, I'm going to put this as nicely as I can, but
Uh-oh.
25 years later, I see pictures of Rob and he still scares me.
Yeah.
Because
It's like Alexander the Great. You still shiver at his statue.
because
Oh, man.
if you've been very close to the guy, he's very intense, and this is coming from somebody that is considered to be very intense. So
You are intense.
he's,
I've never met him, but I've watched some of his videos on Instagram, and he seems very intense.
He is intense.
So
He's
the fact
intense,
that
passionate.
It is passion. It's high octane.
He loves,
Yes.
he loves what he's doing. And how can
Hey,
fact that
hold
Matt-
on, guys. Hold on. Get ready. And Phil's in the house.
What up, Phil?
what's up?
Hey,
guys.
Phil.
How's it going?
But
All right, man.
process-wise,
Good,
it was
Good, man.
because I was freelancing. I was entirely freelancing. He didn't have a studio, so it was just me as the colorist. Well, I came in at the end of Awesome, it was Awesome, right?
It was. Yeah.
Yeah, like the last couple of issues of Awesome stuff is when I came in. But there was still, I work from home, so I've always freelanced.
This is
Uh-oh.
never mind that he's gone. Oh, he's back. But I was
Musical
going to say
chairs.
the one thing about Matt, why he could probably tell it himself. He's told me that he is literally pegged by the editors as the guy that could work with difficult people because he's worked with me,
I was told that.
and I'm going to leave all the other difficult people out, and he can not mention any of them. But I'll put myself at the top of that list because
Yeah, I won't.
and then people don't want to kill him, and he gets the job done. So if nothing else, to work with Rob for that long is an achievement in of itself.
Yeah, I have gotten some recent work where I was told that, you're giving it to me because I'm known to be able to work with rather difficult people. Which is kind of funny. But
It's a good
But,
trait to have.
yeah, it is. But the process-wise, I was always freelance, and so I worked from home, and it kind of everything just kind of worked out because Rob would do whatever his daily thing was. He'd hang out and do whatever and draw and get stuff. And at the end of the day, he'd like scan a page in 2 or 3 pieces and email it to me. Or sometimes bring it over and I'd scan it in at home there and give him the page back or whatever. And then I would piece together the line art. And then at that point in time, there was the big thing was working from pencils. So a lot of people were working from pencils, and so
Now, let me just interrupt you for a second. You
Yeah.
can tell that story, but that happened because of something that, not everything's about me, but in this case it was. Maybe somebody else was doing it, but that kind of started back at Extreme because Rob, usually I didn't stay very late because we had a second night shift that would take over coloring, but there was some issues that Rob was having us color. By us, I say like me and Don, like the big flag cover that he did. That was a giant double pager, which technology-wise was just had to be split by 2 people. But anyhow, and so Danny Mickey hadn't finished inking it, and Rob was like, "Listen, we got to get to the printers tomorrow, and so you are going to start coloring this off my pencils, and then we'll just fix it once Danny Mickey gets the inks done." And they were obviously never right in the sense of like, lines are different when you have it inked.
yeah,
But,
That's a theoretical. That's a theoretical what he thought was going to happen.
It
What
was
happened?
at Extreme.
I think that happened a few times, but it
that's-
takes a lot of work to fix that.
Yeah, and that's how that whole process started. And now, like Maduera with Liquid, that's the only way his stuff is even colored. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I'm saying, so that whole thing that with the whole pencils thing kind of started because Deadline, and then Danny Mickey was just trying to work on it in parallel. So
Yeah, and a lot of people at the time, I don't recall who, but I know there were a lot of artists that were being colored straight from pencils, and so Rob was experimenting with that, and I was, I would get the pencils, and do tight pencils, so it
Yeah.
worked pretty well. But I'd level them up and clean them up, and I was essentially doing the inking without inking, and tweaking that stuff to get the lines dark enough to color over. And so a lot of that stuff, like early 2000s, was straight from pencils. But he'd get me a page in the evening. A page would come in, and then I'd work on it overnight and get it done and have it to him in the morning. And that was kind of the process. We just roll through that as things were going on.
Here's a question from Chauncey. I heard Rob always inked his own faces, but did he give Mickey a pass and let him ink the faces? No, Rob was very, very particular about who would ink his faces. Both Sabal and Mickey didn't do many of them. Rob would go in and do them himself. I've been one of the fortunate few that he allows to ink his faces, and I don't know if that's a credit to my inks, or he trust, or he likes the way it turns out. I don't know, but I've always been lucky enough to ink his faces. So who knows?
Yeah,
He just likes the way you ink, man.
Perhaps that could be it.
I wish I had a comparable Rob story to you guys, but mine's pretty mundane and stupid.
No, yours isn't mundane. Yours is actually hilarious, dude.
Oh, I have a couple of them.
What up, Skits? Drop some on us, man.
One of the first times I was ever addressed by Rob as an intern, it kind of reminds me of I don't know why this comes to mind, but it reminds me of Ian McShane in Deadwood, where you're like, I just want to meet him so he can diss me.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So like, I was standing there working on something, and I see Rob come in. He's holding a toy. He's deep in thought or something, and I'm like, I want to say something and like get his attention. So I say, "Hey, Rob, what do you got there?" And he's like, and he turned to me and he looked him very annoyed, and he said, "It's an action figure, you little faggot," and he just kept walking.
Nice.
That's awesome.
I'm like, yes, he acknowledged me and dissed me. It was awesome.
that's funny.
I carried that with me for like 2 weeks. I was like, I had a glow. That's the first time he addressed me at the office by calling me that.
Heard a lot of Rob stories.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Ethan was telling
That's the
some
thing.
of your
I
Rob
don't know about
stories.
today. I don't know. Like I said, I wish I could have an Angry Man podcast. I should, because I have to edit pretty much anything I think. But that statement could not ever fly today. But that's exactly
nobody calls anybody that anymore. I mean, you're Andre. You're Andre. So, Phil, what story was Ethan telling you guys?
Oh, you didn't hear? It was on.
Was he on a live stream this morning?
Something. No. This was.
No, I think Phil.
while
I'm not
ago.
hearing him.
I'm hearing him. I can hear
you
Phil.
I am. Yeah, I can hear him.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, this was a while ago. He told. I'm sure you know. It involves Taco Bell.
Oh yeah, this is legit. Okay, I'll tell the story. So, he had this really cool Jeep Wrangler, and we go up to Taco Bell. We get our order, and he always ordered chicken everything, back in the day, and anyhow, I ordered beef taco. He got his chicken taco. He had to go into the store for something, and I dig into the Taco Bell bag, and I see it's a Taco Supreme. It looks like mine, so I start to eat it, and I'm like 2 bites into it, and I'm like, oh fuck, this is chicken. So I ate the rest of it because, like, what are you gonna do? Like, here's half of your taco, bro. No, so I just ate it, and anyway, he comes out, and I go, hey bro, I ate your taco, and he goes, what? How the fuck could you eat my taco? I said, I bit into it and was like, oh shit. And he goes, you can't tell fucking beef from chicken? I said, I can, but it was I didn't want to like just give you half of your taco. And he was so pissed. He's like, no, I got to go back to fucking Taco Bell. Turned back around, drove down the hill, and got a replacement thing. But he was pretty pissed. But
what was it with Jeeps and Taco Bell at Extreme? That seemed like to be the theme.
I don't know,
of you
but I
guys.
mean, that was just, honest mistake. Plus, the guy, he gets a pass now because when I think about it, this is the sort of stuff I think about. At the time, when a lot of us went through this stuff, you go, man, that's fucking brutal, and like this guy is so fucking pent up, or whatever. But then I think about it and I go, well, hold on a second. Rob was born in 1967, and you rewind, and the story I'm telling you about right now happened in 1992. Okay, so you take 5 years off of the 7, and you go, hey, you know what? He turned 25 that year. So when that happened, he was 24 years old and running a company, and selling 1 million copies and having to deal with an idiot kid, me, who just ate his taco. So like while it happened, I'm like, yo, fucking unwince the butthole, bro. You need to fucking chill. But now, in hindsight, I'm like, I can see why maybe he was pissed. But
And
Man.
you know what?
It's probably a little on edge.
yeah,
You gotta
The
go
one thing I
back.
have to say, no amount of, anybody saying anything about Rob, whether he can draw feet or not, or anything else, can detract from the fact that he gave so many people such an opportunity that only in hindsight can you appreciate how grand it was what he accomplished. Not only did he make a fuckload of money, which is an accomplishment of itself, but he surrounded himself with all these people that had never really been tried, except for maybe like R.T. Bear or some veterans, and but then he pulled it off. And literally later, I mean, Matt was telling me when Maximum Press was the entire Disney floor. I mean, listen, we were standing in the elevator with Disney people, and he owned half, or rented, whatever you want to call it, half the freaking floor. And then later, it was the entire floor.
The whole floor.
You tell me anybody that you know that can go rent out an entire floor of a corporate building that's not a corporation. Holy fucking shit.
Right. And not even be 30.
Yeah.
I want to say a huge thanks. I keep forgetting we're monetized now, and a big thanks to Mr. Green. Check that out. A $10 super chat. That's insane. I totally forgot that we had super chats. Thank you guys. Get that new equipment for the show. I've already put money down on new equipment. We got a new camera. We got the mic rig. Got some new music stuff. Matt and Andre, when you come over, you won't believe what I did. In fact, I'm gonna show you guys.
Before you go, I definitely want to see this, but I want to find out for everybody, including myself, that does not know how Mike Green just did that. And so maybe you can clue us in.
In the comments section on YouTube, there's a little $sign.
Okay.
And you click on it, and you can donate money to the channel.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to look at it right now. All right, keep going, please.
Crazy. Okay, no, I'm going to show you because you guys have seen what this room looks like. You've seen the shithole mess that my kids have left it in. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to take this. I'm going to take the chroma off. Okay. I'm going to take this. I'm going to back this camera up.
I wish you wouldn't, because it looks so much cooler with it. No!
Behind the curtain.
Oh, hey! Wow! Look at that.
It's a big room.
The illusion is ruined. Looks good, though.
Crap.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
That's very impressive, considering I've
Hey,
also
just
seen what it
those
looked
kids
like.
if they walk in there.
Yeah, it's been. This place looked like a complete shithole.
Dude, that is some solid chroma key you got going on there. You
Yeah.
got some good lights there.
I forgot to take it off. Hold on, here we go. Let me do it again. I took the chroma key off. Now I'm going to show you guys again. I forgot to switch it over. Here we go. One more time.
All right.
Nice. Heck yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
And then with the chroma, I pulled it super tight against the wall, so there were no wrinkles. Got a nice even light.
Yeah, looks good.
Back on. Let's see. And then I'm gonna make myself super tiny because I like to shrink. I'm gonna be a tiny guy.
Wait, chroma's not on.
No, you'll see. Hold on. Here I come.
right.
Chromaing in and shrinking down.
Oh, you fit right over the wastebasket.
That's right. All right, I'm back in. And then
Dan. Whoa.
Yes.
Dan, if you have time and you could find that stream where Ethan tells that story, he took that small of a story and stretched it out to 15 to 20 minutes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Leg Kick, for your very, very, very first super chat. I appreciate that, man. See, you fucking done did it, Luke.
Shit. See, I was trying to be quiet too. I'm sorry, man.
Every time I hear that sound,
be good. Be good. I'm a horrible influence.
I had water. I had water tonight.
Oh, okay.
I know you did. See, I got this this box set that was Jameson Black Label, and it came with these 2 awesome little tumbler glasses that says Jameson Black Barrel. So I had to crack it open tonight.
Got to do it,
man. If I can hear, I see, and I heard the ice. I heard the ice in the glass. These are these are triggering, very triggering.
I'll do it under the table next time. I'll mute myself.
Thump, click, clink, clink. Yeah.
Yeah.
So quickly back to Rob. When I first met him, I really didn't know how to take it because I had everything I knew about him came from Andre, who had a rather good falling out with him.
I was there. I was there when Andre said
that story actually can't be told because
I just
it turned out
you
okay.
didn't have good things to say. You weren't in a good place. And my other friend, who I
thank you, Andre.
That's awesome. Who I was also working with and friends with was Drew
Posada.
And he and Rob had their differences. So everything I ever heard was like, be careful.
Right.
So when I first met him, I was like, well, I didn't even know if I should. It's like, oh man, how do I deal with this?
Who is this Ripa that you guys are talking about?
Young Ripa 59.
Who is that?
He's a YouTuber.
Okay.
He's got a completely different revenue stream. It's outside of YouTube. It's just donations. And that way, YouTube doesn't take a percentage of it, basically.
Like a PayPal situation.
Yeah, like a Patreon or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I've
Cash App kind of thing.
I've got one of those. I just don't use it. I have.
A better way.
Yeah,
There
I have
are
this.
so many different ways to do it now.
Yeah, what is mine? Mine is paypal.me/couchdoodles. I should just put that in. See?
You can.
Should add it in.
There's a lot of streamers use another program. I think with what Luke's talking about. I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called. Ripa
called,
talks about it all the time.
Streamlabs.
The ease of that super chat thing was
Streamlabs, that's
easy.
it.
Hey Matt, so I want to address what Matt just said about like being reticent.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because, like I said, I was a young kid and I didn't have the proper cerebral makeup to be intimidated or afraid.
Yeah.
And I'm so insignificant, no one paid attention to me, so I was actually listening in on everything. And I don't know, for some reason I thought Rob was kind of funny.
Yeah.
He didn't like scare me because he's always bagging on me all the time.
Oh, by the way, guys. By the way, good news. Good news. I asked him on Thursday because he gave me a call and I gave him some updates about the State of the Union, and he said he would love to be on this show.
Oh yeah.
So he will be on this show live soon.
I could have a religious debate with him because he kept referring to me as a born again.
Oh shit. Yeah, but he's a born again.
Yeah, but like he asked me like what my religion was. I said, well, I was raised. I'm being raised. I'm like 12, and I'm being raised. I'm being raised a Mormon. He's like, you're a born again, and he kept calling me. I'm like, what the hell is that? Like I didn't know what he was talking about, but he kept referring to me that way.
Another intern that's down here in Atlanta. I've only seen him one time, and he was actually part of the color group, I guess. It's Jeff Voltner. I shouldn't say I guess. I think he did color later. But he definitely was an intern that was from Rob's church. And
Jeff? Jeff was. Jeff's a good guy.
Yep. And so he was actually, I think, a little bit away from you, Will, because you were on the left side of the studio where all the...
shit.
Yep.
The Whiskey Fund. The Whiskey Fund. Thank you, Luke.
Skull, brother.
I appreciate it. I wanted to show you guys. I know some of you guys have seen it, but I picked up something today for the future. It's called the NPC Live.
Nice.
There you go.
It is a standalone NPC. It doesn't need a computer. You can just make beats on it.
Oh,
That's
nice.
awesome.
Yeah. So this is it's an investment into the future. The Black Flag soundtrack is more than likely going to be written on this thing.
Oh hell yeah,
That
So-
sounds awesome.
And
dude!
as
I'm serious about that EP because the Frag
I'm
Boom
serious.
song gets stuck in my head all the time.
I'm serious about it as well. I'm serious about the future. In fact, we being Will and I, we talked and like I was saying with Matt here and Andre and Will, these are part of the brain trust of the future of things that happen with Black Flag, things that happen with the Couchdoodle show, all things Fragaboom in the future. You know, we have plans that we'll unveil soon enough, but I'm really, really excited about this upcoming decade and the things that we're going to do. It's not just going to be comics. There's going to be a lot of things. And, you know, you guys have been hearing Andre, and he's a self-proclaimed difficult person, but he's one of my favorite difficult people. One of the Andre, you're one of the smartest guys I know, and you give an angle on things sometimes that it hurts. Sometimes, you know, the Band-Aid needs to be peeled off, but he's the balance and the checks and balance. So I just want to say that I am very excited about 2020.
Thank you. No, I
am
like,
too.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I'm very glad that you.
Yes, Jude. Yes, it will be.
Looking forward to moving to Atlanta.
Hell yeah.
Who's
Dude.
moving to Atlanta? Really?
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Wow.
in the next couple of years. Well, I have raps about all of the Black Flag characters. You know, I talked about this in the stream the other day, but, you know, I grew up in a small town. I grew up on a chicken farm doing chores and, you know, getting bullied for being poor and all that stuff. So my perspective isn't like a tough guy perspective, but I always wondered what like a comic or a song written from the perspective of like the Punisher would be like, or a rap written from the perspective of Peter Parker would be about. So it wouldn't necessarily be like a rap about Gorilla. It might be a rap from Gorilla's perspective. You know, being a caged beast in a laboratory, being used as a human weapon, and that way I can write from that sort of tougher, darker perspective and be in the safety zone without being inauthentic. It'll be completely authentic because it's from that character's perspective. So
Right.
that's kind of how the soundtrack's going to be.
Kind of like a concept album.
Yes.
Nice. That's why I liked Deltron 3030. He did with
Yes.
DJ Automator
Yeah.
because it's like a sci-fi concept album. It's fucking great.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And Rooster is you should. I want to say what's up to Rooster. He's been showing me some things that I've been very impressed with because it's very old school. You know, he's talking to me about doing wax packs with gum in them, right? Like Black Flag wax packs with gum, and you know,
throwing it back. Yeah.
5 trading cards and a sticker, and he's been showing me some proof of concept stuff that's been blowing me away. So we're slowly forging and finding our way. So we're just stoked. We're really stoked.
That's awesome. I'm so glad that you're getting all this together. 2020 is going to be crazy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it's a brand new decade, you know.
Well, this kind of reminds me of something me and Dan were talking about earlier, that comics are lacking these days. And it's something I think why we have this nostalgia for the 90s and the 80s is because collecting comics or being part of that scene was seen as a community, right? That you were participating in. You were going to the extreme tours. You felt a part of something cool happening. And now it's just a product that people are just sampling, and it's all, you know, they're just downloading.
It's become
on your iPad.
passe.
Yeah, well,
You know,
not
it's
even
become
cafe.
passe.
It's a product. It's to be
Yeah.
consumed.
Yeah.
And it's not a community. People aren't so, you know, because the fans could turn very easily into employees.
Right.
You know, from just hanging around that osmosis that happens from two different sides of the
Right.
spectrum rubbing up against each other. Like Dan was a fan, and by hanging out at conventions and talking to Rob, he passed through that membrane into the other side. Same thing, kind of with me almost.
How often does that happen now?
Never,
Not
because
very.
it's a giant mega corporation that's putting out something for these kids to consume, and these guys, you go. How many of these kids can afford to go to San Diego Comic-Con, dude?
Right.
Seriously, it's an
going to
elitist
San
event.
Diego is fucking expensive, man.
It's an elitist event now. It's not fair
It
for
really
us
is.
like when we were going, right? Where it was a community event. Now it's a bunch of cosplayers and rich people going there to say, "Here's my selfie at San Diego."
Yeah.
To consume
Status.
stuff.
Oh hell yeah!
Let me try
That's
to.
awesome.
I'm gonna send this to my computer. I gotta send it to my computer.
That's why I
so
mentioned this, because of this wax pack thing. Like, it's like there's cool stuff happening that the fans can, hopefully be able to participate in.
The decoder thing is also another
We'll say
big
this,
thing.
Dan, just to
Yeah,
remind
that's
you,
happening.
I'm sure you got a fuckload of things that you're doing, which you are. But don't forget about that idea for Dragon Con, because without that badge to have me or Matt or whatever sitting at the table, there's no way we're fucking getting in. So if you get on it now,
That's true.
Well, somebody's trying to help me out with that. Brian Silverback introduced me to a guy named Jamie who runs Dragon Con, so I'm working on it.
all right,
I've actually
just
never
get
been to
some way
Dragon
that I
Con.
don't have to wait for a fucking 2-hour sweat fest, because I'm not doing it. I'm just saying that sucks. Because Matt Hawkins from Extreme also, because I used to sit right next to him at Extreme. Last year was the first year I've gone to Dragon Con. I've lived here for 10 years. Maybe it's closer to 11. But anyways, and I've only gone one time because that place is insane. But he had a...
That's what I've heard.
Well, you can't get in there without badges anymore. You can't get into the hotels.
Yeah,
But
so
you can if you have a reservation at one of the restaurants in the hotel during the con.
that's
They
how
will
I
let
got
you
in. Yeah, that's
Which
how
you
I
had
got
to
in.
book like 3 months in advance.
Make them now, boys.
But it's easier. It's easier just to have that pro badge. So I'm just reminding you, whatever you scheme up, try to get one.
Very nice.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's totally true.
That is dope as fuck, man.
Thank you, Rooster Puncher, for working this prototype up.
Yeah,
That is cool.
It's
Yeah.
got to be black gum.
I like how it's just black and red in the
I will
Well,
chew black gum. I will
Black
say that
gum.
now.
We got
I
to
will
figure
chew
out.
black gum.
Make
We
it
got to
great.
figure it out.
Dude, my
Grape or-
toothpaste is black.
The
The
MP
charcoal stuff.
Yep.
That toothpaste is great.
Yeah, it is.
The,
Actually, it really is.
NPC Live came from Guitar Center. I went there to find a way to get this mic situation worked out, and I left with the NPC Live. So
nice.
They
You
got
sound
me.
good, man.
Thanks, dude. Trying to have that warm radio announcer voice. This is why I'm in the radio studio.
Get that warm
I know, I like
radio
that
voice
background.
going.
Hey now.
Take
Jim
this-
McLaughlin at MegaCon one year told me I had a voice for radio and a face for radio.
Oh, of
I
course he
thanked
did.
him dearly. Yeah.
Of course he did. Good old Jim. Can I tell you guys a story that he told me?
Absolutely.
It's a great story, in fact. So there's a guy named Cal Ripken, right? He's a baseball player.
Baseball player, yeah.
And Cal Ripken had the record of, like, most games, no absences, right? Like always showed up. And he and Kevin Costner were best friends. And they went golfing one day, and they went back to the house. And Cal said, "All right, I got to go to the game." And Kevin said, "I'm going to hang back and shower, and I'll meet you there." Cal came back and caught Kevin Costner fucking his wife. And Cal Ripken beat his ass. And then they canceled that game because of lighting malfunctions, even though it was a day game, so he could keep his record. And that is the reason why Kevin Costner didn't do a lot of on-camera press for The Postman, because he was beaten black and blue by Cal Ripken.
So was Revenge autobiographical,
shit.
that film, that movie he made with Anthony Quinn?
Yeah.
That was an autobiographical film?
Yeah, so this was a story that McLaughlin told me when he was a sports writer. I was like, "Oh shit, man."
Wow.
Yo, Michael
Wow.
Green, have a good, safe drive, my friend. I'm gonna show my representation one more time. My man hooked me up. Check this out. Challenge coin status.
Word.
Look at that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, this comes from the Foster Police Department. Goes in my pocket. I handed it to my kid today when she got off the bus. She's like, "Dad, this coin's so warm." I'm like, "Yeah, it's because it's been in my pocket." You know? Yeah.
Keep it with you at all times, just in
that's
case you
cool.
need to show it. Yeah.
Yep. I'm gonna, and so there'll probably end up being 2 coins in the Black Flag campaign, just because I like the idea. You know what? Maybe we'll just create one for this channel. And maybe I'll get them done and do them for this channel. And then when I'll put them up for sale, but without a margin. Like I'll basically, you guys cover the cost of the coin and the shipping, and we'll get them in, get them done. And anybody who wants one will get one.
Hell
And
yeah.
then we can just break them out.
Fragaboom coin.
Sweet.
That's right. That's right.
Awesome.
I've got a voice for silent film, says Jude. That's excellent. What were you going to say, Luke?
All you guys up in Atlanta, you guys are not far from where I am in St. Augustine. You're like 6 hours away. You guys ever been to the nation's oldest city?
I've not.
No.
Yeah.
I've been to Orlando. I've been to Miami. I've been to Tampa. I've not been to St. August.
It's a tiny little town, but there's a lot of history here.
Yeah.
1565, I think it was founded.
Wow.
Like, yeah. But, if you're into history, we've got all kinds of stuff. Plus, this town's haunted as fuck, man.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The ghost.
Oh, yeah.
Do the ghost hunters show up there a lot?
Actually, yeah, they have. They've showed up here at least 3 times.
I don't believe in ghosts, bro. I'm sorry. I believe in. This is the thing that I believe in. I believe in something called like psychic energy, and I don't mean like
Sure.
like tarot reading. But Matt remembers this. When I used to live in Fullerton, I lived in a house on Sudine, and I remember when my ex-wife and I checked it out. When I walked into one of the rooms, it was sort of cold feeling, like colder feeling, and then we were told that the people that lived there before us, there was a murder-suicide that happened in that room. And I felt that feeling before I was told that. So it made me kind of go, hey, there's something to the haunting thing. But I don't.
Oh, yeah.
I was raised a Christian. I'm not like
Same.
I'm not Mike Miller. You're all going to hell for saying you like gay people. I'm not even like not in
There's only
that.
one Mike Miller.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. I'm not a Bible thumper, but I'm also I believe in the teachings of Christ, and I believe in God and all that stuff. But I
I
also
believe in the golden rule.
treat others like you want to be treated. Yeah.
Yep,
Exactly. Exactly right. And I don't want to go off on a tangent, but I'm going to slightly go off on a tangent. I believe that evil is selfishness, and I believe that love is selflessness, and that's why
Yes.
they're opposites. But going back to the haunted thing, I think that when somebody dies, unless hell is being a ghost, unless hell, part of being in hell is to like run around and see shit that you hate.
Right.
I don't believe in ghosts. You know what I mean? Like, I don't believe like, oh, that soul's just here and, wants to scare Scooby-Doo and shit, like.
Right. Well, what was it? Was it Einstein that said energy cannot be destroyed or cannot be created or destroyed?
Right.
So, I mean, and I believe the soul is energy.
Yes.
So, I mean, if there is unfinished business with a packet of energy that is somebody's soul, it might hang around and it might, might trigger something. It might manifest itself differently to other people. Some people might see this or they might feel that.
I was asked if I saw Doug TenNaples earthworm or 10 nipples. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, it's 10 nipples.
Okay, that's like a
Oh,
dog,
okay.
like a dog with puppies.
It's the first time I've heard that.
Yeah, here's the thing, and again, Ethan and I talk about this. I believe in a lot of the addicts. I think is that what it's called? Edicts.
Edicts, yeah.
Will has better vocabulary than I do. Will is the fucking scholar of the bunch. But I believe in a lot of that comics should be comics, that they're their own form of entertainment, and that
Absolutely.
you should be able to do whatever you want in a comic. And if you want to draw big bosomed women with broken backs and sell it to the audience that wants them, then that's your God-given right as someone living in 2020.
Freedom of speech, man.
Yeah, freedom of speech. I believe that politics should not exist in a comic unless that is what you want it to be. But I don't think you should be banned from making comics or banned, in that way. So I agree with a lot of that. What I'm not a fan of, and I try to keep my nose out of it. Any of the stuff, like I'm only knowing about guys like Mitch and Malin and Doug and Edwin and I peripherally. I don't know them. I know Mike Miller. I've known him for 20 something years. I know Ethan, and I've known him for 20 something years. So I consider them both friends. I think Mike does some stupid shit, and I've told him as such. Like the whole thing with
As a good friend does.
yeah, the whole Mike Waringo thing I thought was tasteless.
Oh, yeah.
And I think sending dissected frog videos to somebody is juvenile.
Dude, that twisted my stomach.
Yeah.
I couldn't watch the video, but
Yeah.
just like seeing the beginning of it, I was just like, nah.
So
I mean, I realized they're about to eat it, but whatever.
Yeah,
you know?
but going back to that, I'm not part of that gang in that way. I will always be Ethan's friend. I'll always be Mike's friend. Those other guys, I was on Mitch's show because I had caught it and said what's up, and he had me come on. I liked being on his show. He's a nice guy, but I do know that there's so much like mud throwing that that's not my bag. My bag is make good comics and be friends with my friends.
Word.
That's why like guys like I'll have anybody and everybody on here. I know that like guys like Coley Hamner and Dave Johnson hate Comicsgate as it's perceived, right? But I also know
as it's perceived. Yes.
Yeah. I also know Coley and Dave and know they're really good dudes.
I've been following them on Twitter for years.
Yeah, they're good. They're good dudes. In fact, their interviews are coming next year. They've already been interviewed. They're ready to go, and they're great interviews, and they're great guys. So I just try to stay out of the bullshit. Listen, make good books, inform people on the craft of comics, on the craft of creativity, and have a good time. That's why we hang out like we do. That's why I keep anybody that wants to join our chat when it's not full of all six of us are welcome to, because that's how I roll. If anybody came in here and showed their asshole and dropped a shit on the floor, I'd be like, clean your shit up and don't do it again.
Right.
Yeah. But that's about it. But they'd still be welcome back until they did it twice, and then once they did it twice,
Right.
they're gone.
Once we listen to one another, that's the way comics have always been to me. You
Yeah.
know, going into shops, like it didn't matter what you looked like, didn't matter what you were wearing,
Right.
didn't matter, whether you were male, female, black, white, purple with fucking polka dots. You
Yeah.
like comics? Cool. Let's fucking talk about comics. This character, that character,
Right.
this story, that creator,
Yeah.
That's what it's always been about.
I had a fight with this lady on Twitter. I wouldn't call it a fight, but it was just one of those things where she wouldn't answer the question. She was talking about the Dilbert creator, Scott Adams, right?
Yeah.
And she said Scott Dilbert supports Trump. He should have all of his profits and all of his friends taken away from him 100%. And I said, I don't know who she is. It's like Riot Girls or something like that.
Oh boy.
I said, listen, I personally am not a Trump supporter. I'm not a fan of his, but I'm also not a fan of like telling someone who's using their American right to choose who they want that they deserve to be broken friendless. Like they deserve to be like, come on,
Canceled.
It canceled. This is America, man. He got voted in by the American people. Love him or hate him. I can't stand him. Never can. I make the jokes about tiny hands and Cheeto face and all those things and hide your Tic Tacs and your pussies. All that stuff. But I'm also not going to be like that person should die and burn in hell because they
Right.
voted for him. Like it's ridiculous.
It's hyperbolic.
It is.
And it's just it's the extreme in the wrong way. It's like, let people have their opinions,
Oh man, that's a good idea, Jude. He's saying that everybody wants that black flag ball cap. I think I need to make that a reality too. That needs to happen. I always forget about it.
That'd get me to wear a hat.
Yeah, nobody's gonna be rocking berets, you know, like it's too esoteric, right? Like, you look like Rusty from European Vacation and shit.
I mean, I might.
He scored with a German chick.
That's true. That's true. It was the boobs, man. Like I recognize all '80s movies by boob scenes. You know, like one of my favorite boob scenes of all times is in fact in Just One of the Guys, where she's like, I'm not a dude. She's like,
yeah.
like, no.
That just popped into my head because they were.
Or how about Jamie Lee Curtis in Trading Places?
Uh-huh.
I think I dropped all my popcorn when I saw that.
You know what I just realized the other day, and I was like, you know, it was kind of one of those adult moments when you look back to movies from your childhood. Is it just me, or did Skolnick in Revenge of the Nerds like rape his wife, or who would become his girlfriend, like in the bounce house?
It could be. We were talking about Rocky Balboa the other day. You know, the first Rocky, and the way Rocky was with Adrian, and that was a little handsy. You know.
Yeah. Sure,
you know this. I don't particularly like watching it. I'm pretty much against all love scenes in all movies. But Blade Runner, when he stops Sean Young from leaving, and he says, that's a little. That makes me feel a little.
That was borderline.
Yeah, that's a little creepy. That, you know,
and considering she's basically a child in her head,
right?
You know,
Akuma. If they're both replicants,
right?
Yeah, really anything?
Robo on Robo, you know. They can get into the robosexuality. So Akuma says, "Can I get mine fitted?" I probably won't go as far as doing the hat size number fitted, because that could get really expensive and like doing customs. But I might end up doing flex fits. Definitely no snapbacks, but flex fits.
I did spot something else, and I'm reluctant to point it out because I don't want to ruin anyone's childhood. Yeah. But something pretty crucial I spotted the other day, and I went, "Oh man, that went right by me when I was a kid." And as an adult, it's kind of like, that's a little. Don't know about that one.
There's so much stuff like that.
Like it's from Indiana Jones.
What is it?
Okay. Do you remember when he goes to see Marion Ravenwood up in the Nepal?
Yes.
And he comes in there and she gets pissed at him for whatever he did, and she goes,
I was a child, but
she was 13. And he goes, "You knew what you were getting into."
Oh,
and like she was 13 years old.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Damn!" Like I didn't see that one coming.
Yeah, but in Vatican City, that's legal age.
I don't know, man. That was a weird one. Like, how come I never noticed that one?
Hi.
Because she was obviously very traumatized from it, and not very happy.
Come on up.
She turned out to be a badass, though. So
yeah, she is a badass. Come here.
Oh, well, now she's a single woman up in the Nepalesian Alps by herself, hanging out with a bunch of dudes, hiding Nazi or Egyptian, relics from the Nazis.
Artifact.
True.
I got me a bitch in my hands.
Oh, wait, is that the big one?
Yeah, it's Pepper.
Well, no, I know her, right?
Yeah, you know Pepper.
Indiana Jones.
Go on. No, don't you growl at me.
There's Marion Ravenwood.
You got stinky breath, girl. That's some smelly breath.
I mean, is Indiana Jones that old school that we have to actually show it, and to remind people what it is?
I'm just saying. I happen to have it close at hand, so.
Yeah, I can't remember offhand which ones, but sometimes I'll hear like an old song that I haven't heard in ages, and I'll start listening to the lyrics. Dan and I were talking when I was over there last.
Benny Nardonis.
That's
the 4K
16
one,
years
that's a
old.
nice one.
Apocalypse Now.
Is that nice? I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
And I got to say, the final cut is really quite good because it's not as long as, and there's nothing wrong with the really long one. It's just
D.
just the
Oots.
right length.
Where have you been, D? Where have you been, man? I hope you're doing well, dude. Holy smokes. Stranger.
Andre, what were you saying about Apocalypse Now?
Nothing. I was just, that movie is so awesome. And in 4K, it's like, I just watched it and, it's like, I love Blade Runner, but it's even better as an art piece. than Blade Runner in so many levels. The music, the cinematography, but it's just over. It's basically Endgame. It's at 3 hours and a minute at the final cut version, where they still got the scene with the French up in the trees, and then a bunch of. But I mean, it's such an incredible movie. And the thing is, not to date myself, but that's one of the ones like Blade Runner that I saw on Laserdisc. And people don't even know what the hell a Laserdisc is. But a Laserdisc was an LP. It was this big. It had two sides to it, but it was like a DVD back in the 80s, and you had to have a special player, and Blade Runner was on it.
Some pretty high quality shit back then, though.
It was.
Like, the video quality was amazing.
Yeah, it's the only way you could get Star Wars in letterbox.
Well,
I actually have bootleg DVDs of Malaysian laser discs of the original trilogy.
I have MPEGs of all of those.
Well, the Laserdisc stuff was valuable because it had, and this is going to be strange, but it was a big exclusive item, was the James Cameron director's cut stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Because they had Aliens, and they had The Abyss.
I need to wash my hand. I'll be right back.
And you could only see them on Laserdisc in their director's cut forms. Remember?
The Abyss is a fantastic film.
Yeah, it's still, unfortunately, a neglected classic.
Yeah. Did you ever see the comic that they put out? I think it was put out by Dark Horse. Mike Kaluta did the artwork for it. It's fucking incredible. Kaluta is amazing.
They did the same thing for The Thing. Remember that really great thing from another world that what was it called? It was called I can't remember what it was called, but it was a 2-issue series, and it had beautiful coloring in it. I don't know, maybe you guys are familiar with it, Yaki and Andre. It was Climate of Fear. It was what it was called.
No, I mean, Matt might be, but I got to tell you, the sad thing about trying to get into comics, if anybody is still going to do it, and Matt would probably tell him don't, but is, once you're on the other side of the table, you don't really read a lot of comics because you're just doing it all day long. And the last thing you want to do is read more comics. And so, if anything, I've seen more comics after I stopped being a comic.
Andre, don't tell me this shit. I love reading comics, and I want to make comics, and I want to read comics as well.
All right. I'm just saying. I lied. All of it, that's just a lie.
Well, dude, George Perez said he doesn't read comics anymore either. So, that kind of broke my heart a little.
I haven't bought a comic book to read in about 15, 17 years.
Jesus.
I don't know.
But
no interest in
But he actually still does color, and because I don't, I actually am more interested in comics and stuff. Like Scotty Young, I mean, the guy is insane.
I read the scripts when I get them, so I read the book beforehand to make it. But
fair enough. And then you get to see the art when you color it. So
as a fan, no. And then if you're actually doing it for a living and trying to make money at it, you're not going to put your money back into the industry because you don't make enough to. Nobody in the industry makes enough to buy books.
Hey, Matt. Matt, I'm gonna kick you out so you can come back in because your audio is super tinny.
I'm gonna restart my whole thing and I'll do that.
What do you mean kick you out, Andre? I'll never kick you out. I'll never let go, Jack.
I love Scotty Young. So you see, it's not that I have this book. This is very recent, and it's like I care more about comics now than when I was doing it because, like I said, when you're in it, it's different. And
too close to it.
What's that?
Too close to it.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, at least for me, you get to meet your idols and work with them, and then
they say never to meet your heroes.
And then you're not.
Yeah, they go call you a fag for asking what they're holding. That'd be the least of it. That'd be the least of it.
I was so happy to be insulted by Rob. Like, it was the greatest thing in the world.
Well, I mean, he acknowleded your existence.
Yeah.
He acknowledged that you were there.
And then from that day forward, he was bagging on me on a daily basis.
Got that much.
But that's just a nice way of saying that he likes you, I'm sure.
Yeah, because I was a fat kid, and he was a fat kid, so he's like, he could relate to me. You know?
Oh, man.
Or he was
I grew up a fat kid, too.
Yeah, he was bagging on my weight, but I'm like, because he was fat, so he's like, oh, I like this kid. I'm going to relate to him by getting him to lose weight, and I lost weight, so there you go.
I mean, he went on to do a Levi's commercial, man. So, shows fat kids can grow up to do good,
Be on TV.
And those are some tight ass pants, so he got to fit his
Well, I
fat
mean,
ass in there
it
somehow.
was the 90s, so.
Exactly. And Spike Lee's like 3 feet tall, so he fits in anything.
Man, it's a funny thing. A lot of celebrities are super short. I did not realize that. Like, I'm 6'2", so I meet these celebrities and they're like down here, and I'm like, oh,
Tom Cruise like a
I'm bigger
midget,
on
dude.
screen. Yeah.
Don't meet Danzig. Matt's not here because he has met Danzig, and he's a very short guy.
That's
like
why
Puck.
he's so fucking angry.
Yeah.
He's got a
He is.
Napoleonic complex, man.
He is.
So he's like Puck. He's like this little.
Yes, he's
small
angry
guy.
because he's a dick.
Just
Now, controversial opinion here.
I
I like the Misfits better without Danzig.
Amen,
well, here's
brother.
the thing. I guess I got to work for Rob. That's cool. I got to work for Danzig. That's cool. But when I was working for Danzig, I'd never even heard any of his shit, and I could give a crap. But now that I don't work for him, I kind of like his music. You know what I mean? It's like, but at the time, I could give a shit. I didn't even know about the Misfits and all that.
Mhm.
But he had some killer ass parties in San Diego. I will say there
I
are some
don't doubt
stories. He had this crazy manager. Her name was Ruthie. I mean, Matt can pipe in and he can vouch for all this. But he had a crazy ass party at the Grant where it was a 2-level suite where we were all up on top, and then all the women that he had hired, I'm going to leave it at that, were below. And,
Wait a second.
and
Wait
then-
a second.
Wow.
and then-
I love that, huh?
Well, I
Wait a
guess they
minute.
were hired. I don't know. They were there.
They were
looked
there.
professional. I don't know.
there.
They were hired.
They
Dude.
were massage therapists.
But they were just dancing and stuff. But
Happy
the
ending.
but the interesting thing was that I don't know. Like I said, I think lengthwise, hopefully, I won't get in trouble for saying any of this. But
Lengthwise.
What's going on there?
well, time wise.
Oh, okay.
But his manager Ruthie really got kind of into it, and she had a like one of those frat paddles. I'm not really sure where she got it. But,
I know what you mean. With
bum
the holes in
paddle.
them. Pat,
Bum
pat,
paddle.
pat.
Yeah, and so she went down there.
Hey, Frog, I dropped the link for Yaki again.
Oh yeah, for sure. I didn't see.
Yucky, man.
Thank you.
She
Sorry,
got
Andre,
very-
continue.
No, I'm just saying she just got very excited, and then those women wouldn't really have as much of the excitement as she was doling out, and then that kind of ended that whole thing. But it was. I'm trying to edit it. Like I said, I'm
Cat
trying
fight?
to save it for not getting myself into too much
You're hilarious, dude.
Yeah,
I
trouble.
love the edits.
But there was more going on. But and then he had
This is YouTube. You can say whatever the hell you want.
Matt Yaki's in the house.
I was just
Does it sound better?
Yaki!
No.
Still sounded bad?
Yeah.
You still
can
sound like you're in a tin can.
I think he's coming through his
You can
PC
hear-
mic instead of.
Check your on StreamYard down where if you check your settings,
Yeah.
you can
Rip, yeah,
you can
Yaki's
check
mic.
check which mic you're going through, because you might be going through your camera mic or going through your another mic.
Oh,
The built-in mic.
there it
in your
is.
PC,
There it
perhaps.
was.
okay.
There it is. There
There
it
you
is.
go. Now we can hear you.
Now it's silky.
Now it's smooth butter.
it is
man.
it is
Excellent.
better. I was just
Okay.
telling about Danzig's parties
Oh,
down
Yes.
at he had one in Hollywood at the I forget what the hotel it was. It was a little bit more sedate, but there were some
Oh yeah, the we went there with what's her name? Real short girl. Who was-
what's her name?
who
it was-
remember we were driving down Sunset to get it was at the Argyle.
That's
we,
right.
were, we were driving down Sunset, and it must have been the first time she'd ever been to LA, because she got so like excited and kind of freaked out by seeing prostitutes on the street. Okay. just they were just walking down the street, and it was obvious they were prostitutes. Okay, her mind was blown that night at that party because
Yeah, I was gonna say because
that party ruined strip clubs for me for the rest of my life, because they're just fucking boring.
Damn. I need to go to a party like that. Shit.
That's what
Damn,
I'm
get
trying to
into
say.
the party.
Yes, you do.
The story of the Grant is heavily edited, where it sounds terribly boring, but it was like the one that he's talking about was more sedate than
Yes.
that one. and the one that she went to, and I'm trying to think of her name. It was Nicole's
Was
friend.
there a
Jody.
puppet show?
Jody?
Jody.
No, but there was ball piercings.
Yes. Well, remember there were the four.
Whoa,
there were
this
the,
just suddenly turned into a Jenna torture show.
okay, there were the 4 strippers doing the show on the floor, and then when that whole great thing ended,
They
the
were ladies
big,
that were hired. They weren't.
the
strippers.
gigantic, manly, beastly woman came in a wife beater tee with rubber gloves, came out and set the giant tackle box on the ground and started doing piercings. Yeah, it was.
I went on the
It was
balcony at that point. I just
Wow.
It was something. That was a party.
Yeah,
It was
that's
on
nuts.
It was on the 13th floor, which doesn't exist in that hotel. But
Thank you, D.
you go into the elevator and they take you up and hit a certain combo of numbers to stop at that floor.
Nice.
So it's like it was like a private residence or something.
Debauchery, man. It was debauchery.
Yeah.
Degeneracy.
Yes,
I
it
actually
was.
live in a number
And-
13 myself.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
I wish I had as great a story as that, but mine's funnier. Mine's I actually for a while in my teens I was actually a manager at when it was Funko Land and not GameStop, and it was in the Fox Hills Mall back in LA where I'm from, and Fox Hills Mall is sort of known as it's known as Little Africa because of the demographic, and the reason why is because it's right over the hill from the Crenshaw Mall, which is in South Central. So, so black people go to that one because that's the nice mall where there's not a bunch of BS happening. Anyways, this is the context for the person who would end up working for me. And I was like the only white guy working in this mall. And we were doing this show to kind of date this. We were doing Xbox One launch day.
Yeah.
Like OG
Original.
Xbox.
Right. And the guy that wanted to desperately work with us was Gary Coleman.
Oh, yeah.
What you talking about?
He was a security guard there, wasn't he?
Yeah. He would just hang around the Fox Hills Mall and he would go to the McDonald's, like go in the back and use their phone, and he had his little racket there.
What you talking about, Will?
Right. Well, okay, that's funny that you said that. So I was his manager, and he said we're going to hire Gary to help us, to work with us and help us do the launch day thing. Like Gary Coleman, like that the dude is always coming in here. He's like, yeah, he's going to work with us. But here's what happened. This is a black mall. Okay, and Gary Coleman working launch day in a line full of black people is not going to go well for Gary Coleman. Okay, he's walking up and down that line handing out tickets, and every single one of them is going, Gary, say it.
Oh, yeah.
I ain't saying shit unless you pay me. And he was getting pissed.
Yeah.
Like every one of them was like talking trash to him and saying, say the words. He's like, and we had to actually send him home because he got into a fight with 2 people. Because they kept messing with him, and he
poor Gary.
It was every single one of them was saying do the line. Every one of them.
I always thought him and Webster should team up.
Ooh,
Listen, Webster
a buddy
lives
cop
down
film.
here, by the way. He goes to the Whole Foods down
Small time cops
in Buckhead all the time. Emmanuel Lewis is there all the time, by the way.
Really?
Where is this?
The Buckhead Whole Foods. He's there all the time.
Does he work at the Whole Foods? Like
No, he doesn't work
Security
there.
guard.
He's got a jacket and
Thank you, Mr.
Wow.
Bob.
Time cops. That's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Wow,
Or
is
they
he any
could-
taller?
Or they could be be on the run. They could be
He's
on the
older.
run and call it small time crooks. Or
Oh.
Small crime. Yeah.
I
yeah.
noticed them is because somebody somebody mentioned it. Like there's Emmanuel Lewis. I'm like, oh, really? Doesn't? And then you look at it, and you're like, oh yeah, I guess it is. If he was that much older.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Crazy.
Oh, poor Gary Coleman. Poor Emmanuel.
Yeah.
A moot
poor
point,
Gary.
isn't he gone now?
I think everybody is.
Yeah.
Isn't he?
Gary Coleman's dead. Yeah.
Gary
Yeah.
Coleman's passed, but I think Emmanuel Lewis is still.
Oh yeah, he is. No, it's
Oh, 3 Aki.
No.
3 Aki.
yeah.
You're outer limiting over there, Yaki.
Yeah.
What the
I
hell's
know.
going on over there?
Hey, what's happening on your
It gives me some sort of an error that the connection to the browser is.
All right, I'm gonna have to come over and fix your shit.
Have a great night, D. Have a great
Well,
night, D.
Yeah, it may be an audio thing. I need to
Maybe my
bust out.
advice for all
It might be
audio
the
stuff-
USB cable on your camera.
No, I think it's what Andre was saying that the audio on this when I built this new computer, the
Uh-huh.
audio was all jacked up on the. Well, it's not jacked up. It uses some alternate software. Asus. It's an Asus motherboard, and so it,
Are you kidding me? Sorry.
Oh, he froze.
He froze.
Oh,
Whoa,
The
man.
computer said, "I'm done with you," but literally no, because I went over to his house the other day and I was trying to help him with
There
some
he
of
is.
the audio, and maybe it made it worse, maybe it didn't. I don't know. No, well,
Yak attack.
no,
Now it's
he
muted.
can't hear us, or we can't hear him.
Oh,
But-
there we go.
Whoa.
The sweet.
The Yak cam.
We get to see the crack people.
I
Matt does not live in a good neighborhood.
No.
mean, what is,
But by
Fucking
choice, though. By choice, though. He likes
But no,
it there.
no, yes, by choice. I'm
He likes to
sorry, yes.
live with taking
Oh,
his
he
life
really
into his hands
does.
daily.
He really does. He's like, show me your homeless shelter area. I want to live around them.
Yes.
I don't know what it is. Maybe it's he just
And
likes.
speaking of which, Will, he actually
Like downtown St. Augustine, there's a lot of homeless down there.
yeah.
he can't comment because we're looking at his corner, but
The P
we get
corner.
to see what his cat looks at all day. But I was gonna say, Matt, you actually, before I moved down to Atlanta, stayed at my house for well over a month and a half. So if you ever come down here, I do have some space if you ever need it, Crash. Before
well, thank
get
you,
to the
Andre.
place.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, your place is awesome, dude. Your shag
All right.
room. Your
That's
shag
very
room.
nice of you. I appreciate it, Andre. Thank you.
We
is
should
my
be doing-
mic back?
Yes.
Okay, let's see if I can
But
get me.
there we go.
There you are.
There you go. There you
All right.
are.
We'll
Beautiful
just keep
man.
playing with it. Yeah, it's something with the program and the browser aren't liking each other, and it's probably the audio that's jacking it up.
Yeah.
I don't want to fuck with it until I'm done with He-Man,
Yeah.
or at least this
Right?
issue. 'Cause, man,
Just
I
in
can't-
case something goes completely fucking sideways.
Exactly.
We had Chronic Taco today because there's a Chronic Taco here in
Oh, yeah.
Alpharetta. I tried this stuff called Gringo Bandito Super Hot.
Okay.
It was literally the hottest hot sauce I've ever had in my
Ooh.
life.
Okay.
It's the first ingredient, of course, was like vinegar, but then the second ingredient was scorpion
What?
peppers, and then not scorpion,
Oh.
not the
I was about to
bug.
say,
What does
like,
that
is it
bug
little
have?
scorpions or-
Scorpion's pretty good, actually.
Yeah. It was the scorpion chilies and then the Jaloika, but I'd never had a scorpion before. The hottest I've ever gone before that, I think, was a ghost. I thought I had a
Mhm.
scorpion, but apparently I didn't. Shit was so hot that like my lips were numb. Like they had that like buzzing feeling. Shit was awesome. I want a bottle of it.
Raven next knows what's up. He's talking about the sloss and swap meat. I remember that.
Mike Green. They called it the piss corner.
Yeah, piss corner. Yeah.
No disrespecting, dude. Come on. Oh shit.
All right, guys, I'm gonna head out. Thanks for having me on.
Oh,
Hey, Phil, good to see you.
Awesome seeing you
Thank
again,
you, man.
Will.
Take it easy,
Good to see you,
Zane.
Andre. Yeah.
Good to
Well,
see you,
dude.
homie. Peace.
The sloss and swap meat was awesome. You could find so much stuff there.
Sloss and swap.
Oh
What was
yeah,
that?
Slauson Swap on Slauson.
Yeah, I was in
Oh, yeah.
Compton,
Oh, yeah.
or
Oh, yeah.
South
Oh,
Central.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah,
We
yeah.
got a link in the stream. We have one open spot. If anybody is wanting to be part of the on-screen gang, throw some spice in the mix.
Come hang out.
We need to do some.
I actually went and had tacos today as well.
Hell yeah,
Taco
dude,
Tuesday, man.
I had a what do they call it? A burrito.
Oh shit, Fraga.
Yeah.
Oh,
What?
Uh-oh. Is he
Uh-oh.
not?
oh.
He's
Am I not
wait,
moving?
I hear him.
There he
Am I
is.
not moving? Oh, that's
There,
weird.
now you're moving.
Okay, I had something called a burrito. So it's like a burrito without the wrapper, you know? It's
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
beans,
Yeah.
rice, chicken, jalapenos, pico de gallo, and some of that hot shit. It was good.
Mhm.
It was good. But that's why I'm not drinking tonight because I had rice. That's how sad it is. I'm like, I've had my carbs. It was brown rice, but it was carbs.
You're
Hey,
a fiend, dude.
brown
You're
rice is
fiending
better.
it right now, getting used to your intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
It'll pass though. I promise you. You won't even. After you get used to it, it'll be like nothing anymore.
I'm good. I just, you know,
I mean, that's some tasty shit to spend your carbs on, though. You know.
that's true. What does Matt Yaki got there? Oh, he's sharing the
Oh.
screen for a second.
Yeah, I was playing with things.
He's trying to crash the internet again with having a thing that shows a thing that shows a thing that you're watching.
That's right.
It's like having a mirror against a mirror. You know, you get
Yep.
the infinite, back and forth.
Yeah.
So, I picked this. I got this in today at the shop. I was doing.
I'm gonna full screen you, dude. Full screening you.
It is
Nice.
Doc.
Oh, that's gross.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's
This
great.
came in for me today. I am so
Excellent.
excited to read this shit. I love his
Uh-oh.
artwork. His Maestros miniseries that he did for Image was fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah, but this came in today. And one more thing.
excellent.
The Omnibus.
Oh, David Mack.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
That's
I have
excellent.
never gotten a chance to read this all the way through. I've read issues here and there,
Yeah,
but I've never gotten a chance to read this all the way through, so I am excited for this thing.
excellent. Yeah,
Yeah.
on Will's recommendation this weekend, I picked up the big Meta Barons tome by Jodorowsky.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, Meta Barons is so fucking good.
I can't wait. I mean, if Will says to check it out, it's either going to be
Mhm.
really fucking dense or really good or both.
It is both.
Yes,
Yeah,
I'm
It is.
excited.
It is both. Look at
There
the
it
size
is.
of this fucking thing, man.
That's the
Mhm.
one. That's the one I got.
Yep.
Yeah.
And what's really cool about reading it is that it actually takes such a, it goes left like 3/4 of the way in
Yeah.
with a crazy story thread.
Mhm.
And
Wait.
you know what I'm talking about.
You know what it came from, though, right? You know what it came from.
My
It came
green
from
is in
his.
the house.
What up, Mike?
No, he's in the
Green?
supermarket.
Sure.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
You getting some beans? What's happening?
Supermarket. Check this out.
We got two upside down.
Oh, wait,
Oh.
hold on. Let's take a look at what he's got. Where you at? Because I saw beans, bro. What is that? Oh, you're getting
Is that Whole Foods?
That's Chipotle.
No, that's Five Guys.
No.
Five Guys.
No, it's,
Oh.
it's the
I am
El
less
Rancho
excited.
Supermercado.
Oh, Supermercado, dude. Supermarket.
Oh,
Oh,
good stuff there.
So
I'm sure.
it's like Chipotle.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
That's
It's the
awesome.
Taqueria.
I love it.
Damn it! Stop making me hungry, Mike Green. Shit. First you were cooking, now you're at some restaurant. Come on, man.
I know he's making.
I'm
me
drinking
hungry.
whiskey. I don't need to eat nothing.
Oh.
Horchata. Oh, I miss horchata. I haven't had
Hey,
good
you
horchata
leave
in a
Chata
while.
alone and don't call her names.
Oh, but I love her.
Man, I've got a pretty good.
So
It's crazy.
Meta Barons. You know what it came from, right? Well,
Yeah,
it was Jodorowsky's treatment of Dune.
Was
yeah,
it?
but all that
Yeah.
stuff went into there.
Yeah. There's a documentary. I want to say it's on fucking Amazon Prime.
No, it's not.
Jodorowsky's Dune. Not anymore.
No,
You can
but
buy
I've
the
been trying to
Blu-ray,
get Dan to watch it for years.
It's
I've got it
it's
on
so
Blu-ray.
good, man.
Where is it? Where does it live, or it's gone now?
Jodorowsky's Dune. If you can find it anywhere,
I've got it
it's
on
worth a
Blu-ray.
watch.
I've got it on
There you
Blu-ray.
go. Get it from Yaki.
What? Yaki, dude, bring it over.
I'll bring it.
And the thing about what's sad about that documentary is that you see, because it never came to fruition, but now you can see it after the fact, is how much he got jocked off of for never even producing the project. Just how much of an innovator he was. Like,
Yeah.
the one big thing that he got jocked off of was how movies are designed,
Yeah.
Mhm.
which is to get a bunch of people who are not, technicians in the business just because they have a certain particular artistic point of view, like Chris Foss or
Mobius.
Eager, and saying, okay, you guys do this
Yep.
stuff really well, and putting them in a room together and say, do your thing
Mhm.
really well.
Yep.
And Dan O'Bannon kind of saw that and went, I'm going to keep that in the back of my mind. So when he got to do Alien, he brought all those guys with him.
Yes,
and
he did.
He got the credit
Yeah.
for that, for starting
Mhm.
that revolution of get the best artists that are not necessarily movie guys,
Yep.
bring them in to do what they do best.
Yep.
Right? But that was all from Jodorowsky. There's lightsabers in there. There's cybernetic
Jodorowsky
vision.
was going to redefine sci-fi before Star Wars redefined sci-fi.
Right.
Like,
Everything in Star Wars is in there. Like, I'll give you another example.
Mhm.
The big shot that he was going to do, the galactic shot that the
Mhm.
signal stole. Remember that they pull out from the signal and they go
Yeah.
all the way out of the galaxy with starting on the Earth and out. He was going to go
Right.
from the galaxy in to onto a person, like a close up all the way from the galaxy in.
Right. Yes. Yes.
Remember
Okay.
that?
Yes.
Crazy.
And
Did
he
you guys
just
see the last South Park?
no.
No.
Okay,
Those are
you need
still
to.
on.
Man,
They're still
you know
on?
what's funny?
You need
I don't
to.
watch a whole lot of
It's all
TV
about the
anymore.
spice. It's all about
It's
the
all about
spice.
the spice.
I gotta say that I think
Dude,
You know-
they're talking about Dune, Jarosky's Dune that wasn't
It's the
made.
aborted Dune project that you can see what it would have became in a documentary called Jodorowsky's Dune, which we
Yep.
highly, highly recommend. Like,
I'm gonna
highly
go-
recommend.
I'm gonna
And
look at
that's
from-
why they hired David Lynch to direct Dune,
Right.
because they
was-
were trying to ape Jodorowsky.
Yeah, good luck with that.
I'm gonna have to get this from you, Matt, because I'm
Yeah.
Why don't we just have a watching party at my house, dude?
huge
Yeah.
Grab some fucking
Dune fan.
Yeah, totally. No, you
weed-
guys. I'll
weed
pass
infused
it around.
smart water.
Shit, man.
Because
I'll bring some green.
Bam, let's do it.
Yeah, just drive it up.
Yeah, 6 hours, bro. You can crash.
That's what I
It
showed you,
ain't far. Yeah.
Crash it on house.
The fifth element is basically the Inkal.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It's like blow by blow. It is like, except pared down and easier to digest. Like instead of Lilu being this abstract Inkal, it's a woman.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? They even the Monochi one in it are the Bergs from the
Dude,
Inkal.
Fifth Element's totally inspired by Mobius.
Oh,
Blueberry,
100%.
and his
100%.
sci-fi stuff that he used to do. Yeah. Oh yeah.
100%.
Yeah, but the
love
movie itself is basically an adaptation of the Inkal.
Mhm.
It's that book. Like I was reading the other day, it's all in there.
Mhm.
That's why I think Jodorowsky sued Luc Besson, or tried to sue him.
Oh,
Did he really? I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
Luke
He
needs
did.
to be sued. That guy's a dickhead.
And he stopped and he went,
Not this Luke. Not this good Luke. I'm talking about Luc Besson. I worked
I
for
think he
Luc
got
Besson.
a little bit
Did
further with
you?
it.
I did, yeah.
And
On
he said
what?
it,
On Transporter.
oh.
Yeah.
And then I think he just said, hey, I'm being jocked. It's the highest form of flattery. So, because he's been so
Right.
copied and not attributed any kind of
Well, dude,
any
that's
kind
what
of
happens
credit.
when you're a fucking innovator. That's what happens when
Yeah.
you blaze a trail. People copy your shit. You
Right.
got binders all the time.
Well,
Yeah.
here's the problem: is that the thing that they copied never saw the light of day. It just everybody kind of like vultures picked their piece out of it, went and did their own projects, and those things became the things that were innovative.
That's the same thing that happened to William Gibson. All the reason, like my buddy Joseph had the rights and the blessing from William Gibson to do Neuromancer.
Such a goddamn good book.
Leg kick in the house.
What
Hey,
up,
guys.
Leg Kick?
How you doing, guys?
Yeah,
Good to see you all.
the problem with it though is by the time Joe went to make the movie, everybody had picked all the good bits out of it to the point where you would just be making something that would, by the
Right.
unindoctrinated, would be considered trope, even though it's the source.
Exactly. So if you were to make the Inkal now, everyone will go, "We've seen this already." Yeah, it was the originator.
Right. Right.
You know,
Yeah.
that's what sucks is that you could never
It's
see
the
that.
seed. Yeah, it's the seed that was pulled from.
It's like, oh, you just pulled a seed off that
I
big
just,
tree. No,
I
this
just
is
want
the
to,
seed.
since you mentioned William Gibson, never mind how much fucking the Wachowskis ripped of the Matrix, but I want to show something that I was just listening to that's come out
You
and been
can talk
made
to Grant
into
Morrison about that too.
a little audio drama, which so the third Alien film, which while good, was not what actually ever happened. But this right here,
Yeah.
the William Gibson version, which if you listen to it, is very, very different than what happened with Alien.
Oh
3.
shit! They did an audiobook of it.
Yeah.
Well,
Where
now
is
They,
it's-
that?
they did.
That.
Dark Horse put out a comic based on William Gibson's script.
Well, I didn't know
This
that.
one.
existed.
Look
Wow.
at Will's.
This is the
Nice.
actual comic adaptation of that script.
Yeah. That's
Oh,
what
wow.
I picked up in single issue.
But
That was good.
The thing was, if you listen to this, I'd have to read that. But if you listen to the adaptation of it in the audio version, it's basically Prometheus. Like
Right.
Yeah.
he ripped
Uh-huh.
everything. It is Prometheus. It might as well be Prometheus. It's Prometheus.
Right.
So
There's Bishop.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
So you're like, what the hell is going on there?
yep. Bishop.
That was
No,
a pretty
it's
decent
really
comic.
cool story.
Matt Yackey's having some major issues.
He's time
Yeah.
traveling, guys. Leave him alone.
Yeah. Okay.
I
Time
think that's really
travel's real.
cool
I'm
that they're able
thanks,
to do
Will.
stuff like this.
That's awesome. I never knew that existed.
Right, and another one
it was-
I recommend to people who like to see what could have been is they also did an adaptation of Frank Miller's RoboCop 2 script.
Whoa.
It's crazy as fuck. This is insane. It's unfilmable.
Oh shit!
Like this is
Yeah.
nuts. Like I recommend it just to see like
I
for
remember that shit.
archaeology's sake, but this
Uh.
is nuts, dude. Like seriously, Frank's original vision is crazy.
Mhm.
I was
It a
waiting
lot
for
different.
RoboCop versus Terminator.
Oh, that would be awesome.
That's a great, but yeah, that one's tame by what's in this one.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
I
highly
really
really
recommend
kind
kinda
of
went
figured the
all
original
out with,
RoboCop was crazy. Sorry, Death Metal.
Is everybody
it was-
nuking out in that comic? Are they like nuking out?
No, it's like put it this way: the movie that was made, I actually like RoboCop 2.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's a stripped down version of Frank's typical craziness.
Yeah.
Because you know how we all know Frank's excesses, like what he's
he
good at
pushed
being-
it to the limits.
right.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he's like the RoboCop 2 robot in this one is actually a mercenary soldier that they use. He was one of the rehabs.
Oh, okay.
So it's RoboCop
So
3 and RoboCop 2 are
long
one
time.
script.
Ah.
And one of the rehab soldiers was this crazy berserker type that literally tries to fight with RoboCop like a flesh and blood guy, and he's so crazy that he's actually duking it out with RoboCop.
That's crazy.
And ends up getting killed doing it, and they put his brain in RoboCop 2.
Huh.
You know, as opposed to the drug addict, Kane. His name is Kong, put it that way.
Oh, look.
That tells you who the character
We lost
is.
a Yaki.
Yeah.
If the character's name is Kong, that should tell you what kind of character that is.
That's true.
Yeah.
All right,
But-
gang. I hate to do it. I gotta cut it short. It's a school night.
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
I hear my
Yeah.
mom calling.
But-
I hear my dad whistling.
I recommend, like, just for the
You're
bibliography for the night, guys. Pick up Jodorowsky's Dune. Great
For
documentary.
sure.
Mhm.
And if you want something a little extra, check out a film called Lost Souls, which is about the aborted, was it Richard Stanley Island of Dr. Moreau that John Frankenheimer.
Oh,
did.
yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
How about
The-
Dreamscape with Dennis Quaid? That was a great movie.
Well, I'm saying we're talking about
Yeah.
these aborted movie documentaries.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But those two, Lost Souls and Jodorowsky's Dune, I highly recommend. You can watch Lost
Have you ever
Souls.
seen Island of Lost Souls? The
Yes.
black and white movie that they did?
Yes, this
Like
is the Val
that-
Kilmer one that he was going to direct.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was after Hardware, and he got the job doing it, and it just essentially collapsed in on itself from all the star power from Marlon Brando being there, and it is a cluster.
Yeah.
But it's a great movie, guys.
With that little Nelson guy playing the piano on
Yeah,
top
like-
of the.
Yeah, there's a whole story on that. Like Marlon Brando, fell in
Brando
love with
became
that guy.
obsessed with that little dude. He's like, you're
Yeah.
going to be a huge star
Yeah.
and whatnot. Yeah.
He's
He
just supposed to
should've
be a
been.
monster, and Marlon Brando's like, I love this guy. He's living artwork. Put him in the movie.
Uh-huh.
I'll
Yeah,
teach
he's
you how to
going to
act.
be my right-hand guy. Yeah, yeah.
Like, what do you act
Brando was a
like
little
Lost in
crazy.
Love?
Just a little crazy.
A lot
So
of
yeah, guys,
crazy.
check those out, and then check out these Alien 3 and the RoboCop stuff. It's fun to see what could have been,
Oh yeah. Well,
Cool.
as always, everybody in the Frega Boom Room, thank you for being part of the show. Thank you very much for the super chat donations, you guys. That was very cool, and appreciate it. To go towards making the show even better, especially coming up in 2020. This week,
Going to be a good decade.
yeah,
And Raven, yeah, he did get credited Frank Miller. He's credited as one of the screenwriters.
yeah.
Cool.
And tomorrow we'll probably do some drawing, like we did last night with Sniper.
Hell yeah.
And that's it. And then we're going to talk about eventually this month. We're going to start talking about format as far as what you guys want to see, how we're going to do it. You guys be great. All
right, guys.
We will
Good
see you
seeing
guys
y'all.
tomorrow.
Thank
same
you,
back
Dan.
time
Rest
on the
well.
channel.
Nice to
You
meet
guys-
you all. Nice to see you all.
You too, guys.
Take care.
Be well.
Good to see you,
Good night,
Luke.
everyone. See you.
Take it
Take it easy, leg kick.
Good night.
Peace.
Good night.
Excellent.